Where are we?
I don't know, but it's so dark here and I can't see a thing.
Bryce, welcome to the Void.
The Void?
Yes, this is where all podcasters go before episode 100. From here, you'll be able to see all past episodes of your show.
Look, Drew, we could see all past 99 episodes of the show.
With this podcast, I'm thinking there's so many good Nintendo podcasts that actually discuss the latest Nintendo news, the latest games. And I want to do that, but I think the best way would just be bringing up random topics.
Yeah.
Nintendo-based topics all the time.
Yeah.
And that's our aim, and that's what we're starting off to do.
They're a pop culture podcast that cover all bases, and they're here to cover empty bases.
Can I try some?
Wario had an idea. He took off his pants and exposed his big butt.
Howdy. Today on the show we're at PAX and we've got three special guests. We've got Eric Dutch from Nintendo Everything.
Is no one else going to say nice at episode 69, or is it just me?
hey, I was waiting for it.
Yeah.
I was saying to Bryce on the way here, I'm like, do you realise this is episode 69? This is a momentous occasion. It's really exciting.
I'm sorry, Teehee.
And during the Q&A, somebody asked, haven't heard it on the show yet. Will you ever say, roll out? And this will tell you how much of a fan I was not. I said, is that important? Oh. And the whole room did exactly.
Wow, such good memories. And look, Bryce, we can see a few of our friends' podcasts here as well.
Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? It's Eric from Nintendo by Numbers here.
This is Apple Slice. My name is Simon, and I'm here to give you the latest Apple tech news, rumours, and reviews from an Australian perspective.
Hey guys, welcome to Dash Culture, powered by DashGamer.com. I'm one of your hosts, Dash, along with my co-host, Mr. Buddy Watson.
Hello and welcome. My name is Paul James, and welcome to Dave Diary, a series that explores and celebrates the incredible feats of the people behind the video games that we all love.
Welcome to Arcade Couch, the best place to chill with your friends and get your gaming goodness every Saturday at 6 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. I'm Dylan Blight, and joining me this week...
Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Hobley, and joining me today is...
Hey guys, my name's Dane. Welcome back to Pushing Through Blue, an interview podcast sharing stories of people's experiences with mental health in an effort to bring awareness, help others start conversations, and break through the stigma surrounding mental health.
Bryce, the doors to episode 100 are open. Come forth and complete your journey.
Let's do it, dude.
Yeah, man, let's do it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the House of Mario, the award-winning Nintendo podcast backed by 120 Power Star rating. And the doors to episode 100 are open.
100!
I am your host, Drew Agnew, and joining me, as always, is my best buddy. He was an ace trainer last week, but what are you this week, Bryce?
Episode 100 podcaster, there you go.
Episode 100 podcaster, Bryce DeWitt.
Yay!
100 episodes, my friend.
Oh, it's been a journey. It's been a journey.
It's been a journey in front of these microphones.
It has, yeah.
Yes. So this week is going to be a little bit different to our usual episodes. It's going to be basically a celebration and a reflection on 100 episodes of The House of Mario. So if this is your first episode, you might be like, you know what, I don't really care about what these boys are up to. I just want to hear about Nintendo news.
Probably not the episode for you.
Yeah. We'll be back to that next week and the previous week. We can't go back to the previous week. We're not time travelers.
Future weeks.
Yeah, future weeks.
Yeah, until episode 200. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So, Bryce, exciting times. I just want to bring up first. You're getting a dog. You're getting a dog.
I am getting a dog today.
You really? I know you want to talk about it. So let's talk about
episode 100 celebration dog.
Celebration dog. Is that what you're going to call it? Episode 100.
Celebration dog. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what breed are you getting?
I'm getting a German Shepherd. Yeah. So by the time this episode's up, people will already know if you follow my Twitter. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. There'll be pictures.
Oh, there'll be plenty. There will be plenty. I've been looking forward to it. It wasn't supposed to happen till after tax time, but the perfect dogs come up. So it's sort of like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. It's a week for it. It's a good week for it. You know.
So it's a good week for a dog.
Good week for a dog.
It's really funny too because it was the same day where I'm looking at dogs as well.
Yeah.
I'm looking at little Jack Russell puppies. Hopefully in the next week or so.
And then we'll have dog friends and they can do shit together.
Oh, we can go for walks and take our dogs and we go to the park and look at our dogs. They're so cute.
Yeah, how good is that? Yeah.
But I need a kid as well, so we can do the same with the kid.
Oh, look at the kid! It's doing the same thing as the dog.
look at the dog. It's
running on all fours and catching tennis balls.
Oh, so cute.
Oh, so adorable.
I want to be able to just walk down the street in little prams, and we can be like little. We can have like a jogger's uniform on, and
Yep. No, we'll be like middle-aged mums.
Yeah, that'd be great. But we're going to get coffee.
Oh yeah.
I don't drink coffee though.
Maybe it's a good time to start.
Yeah, we'll have
probably have to get off those energy drinks.
Yeah. We're usually on the beers, but we're on energy drinks today. I'm just...
Oh, yeah, because we got work to do today.
We got work to do today.
It's episode 100.
It's 100 day.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be a wacky time. I don't think anything too outrageous is going to happen, but I suppose you'll find out if you listen.
I think we're going to upset our neighbours, but we'll see what goes on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're pretty excited about it.
Yeah. So we'll back it right up, Bryce. We'll talk about how we, started the House of Mario and sort of the processes of how it went along the way. But I guess start it right back when we became friends. Like really far back in the day.
All right, yeah.
Like pretty much throughout our whole friendship, we've pretty much just like talked video games.
We have. That's
been our thing where we're like, this is, I guess, our initial connection when we're playing Game Boys and Nintendo consoles and Xbox and PlayStation, like whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And it sort of just grew from there. And we always, whenever we caught up, we always just talked video games.
Yeah.
Like, especially Nintendo games.
Yeah, because, the mutual love of Nintendo spread pretty hard and fast once you got your Game Boy. Because the Game Boy SP was your first console.
Yes. Hard and fast. I don't know how I like that.
Hard and fast, like all the way through. But you started off with Pokemon and an SP.
Yeah.
And I'd been playing Nintendo since NES. That's the first time I ever laid my hands on a console. Ever since then, I've always been a Nintendo fan.
Who had the NES? I'm just curious.
So my mother's partner, when he was with his previous wife, they had a NES, and then further on down the line, I was introduced to the SNES through a family friend, and I used to play All Stars Pack all the time.
Yeah,
I loved All Stars Pack. It was incredible. One of my favorite gaming experiences growing up was playing all these different Mario games, and it was definitely one of my big things. It really drew out my love for video games. Games like All Stars Pack, it was really something.
I remember once at your place you had like Mario Paint, and this was like obviously years after the game came out.
Yeah,
you just had playing Mario Paint. I can't remember what I was really thinking, but there was something along the lines of why you're playing Mario Paint, like especially
because
like
it's so wacky.
Yeah,
such a niche game, but it's so cool.
It was like a decade after.
It's like because it's got like a music maker and shit in it. Like it's so good, Mario Paint. Like I don't understand why it ever come into existence. Like having a Mario Paint game. I guess they were like, oh look, everybody loves Paint on Windows.
Nintendo's got to make hardware, so it's like, let's make a mouse. Why should we make a mouse? Because we're gonna make a game that you can paint stuff and click on things.
Yeah. And it turned out really good.
Yeah.
It was a really good, just like creative game where you could just make bullshit up. And even to this day, people are still making music in Mario Paint.
Yeah,
it's really nuts.
Yeah, just like one of my most fondest memories of basically you is you basically introducing me to Zelda.
Yep,
that's one of my fondest memories. Being like having my Wii, I'm like, all right, like this Zelda Twilight Princess, it's got great reviews, but I don't know if I'll like.
Yeah, it was between
Zelda.
that or WarioWare, because WarioWare touched.
The DS one, was it?
Yeah, well, no, you were going to get smooth moves, but I remember when you went to the Connection tour in Adelaide with Adam and Jordan, who are friends of ours, and they listen to the show sometimes. So hi, if you're listening.
Yes, you are.
And Jordan managed to procure a copy of Touched through competition giveaway.
Yeah, I was so jealous. I got what was that puzzle game? Because I won a DS game there as well. This was back in 2005.
Medios.
Yeah, so I was 10 years old.
Yep.
Yeah, it was Medios. I won Medios, and that was a fun puzzle game. I would have never.
It's really good.
I would have never played that if it wasn't for winning it. But I was jealous of Jordan because of WarioWare Touch.
But to be fair, he shared that game around a lot. We all played that game like by proxy. He was just like, okay, I'm done with it for now, and then we pass it on to the next person, and we all went through it. And WarioWare Touch was so fun.
Oh, it's so good. It's brilliant. Yeah.
But that's also why you had your confliction where you were like, do I pick Zelda or do I pick WarioWare?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I pushed you. I'm like, Zelda. Trust me, Zelda. It's not that WarioWare's going to be bad, but you'll get so much out of Zelda, and you did. It's your favourite Zelda game.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I don't know whether between Breath of the Wild or Twilight Princess, they're different. So it's
they're different.
So you can't really compare them.
But in a traditional Zelda sense,
yeah,
it was your favourite one.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
And I mean, I got to agree. It's a pretty damn good game. It's one of my favourites too.
Yeah.
I know it hasn't really aged well in some people's eyes, but it's definitely got some of the best themes in a Zelda game. It's got some really...
Because that was like I wasn't really... I was still young then. This was like end of primary school, start of high school. So you don't know what you like and don't like, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't... Like, I watched Lord of the Rings and, medieval stuff like that, and I wasn't into any of it. Like, it never really grabbed my attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, Zelda looks like a similar thing.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was a very, very nice fantasy adventure.
Yeah, like it just had like a completely different vibe about it, which I just was drawn to immediately. Like as soon as I played the game, even like doing all like the silly stuff like herding the goats and everything.
And at the start, I
was just like,
even through the long ass tutorial.
Yeah, and you get your tunic and I remember just like I used to wake up early to play that game, and one of my most fondest memories is taking down the second boss in the. I forgot what it's called now. The big giant, which you've got to like use
the Goron mines boss. Yeah,
can't remember what he was called, but like you
with the chains.
Yeah, you're using your metal boots to stick to the magnetic floor, and you like use it to pull down the giant with his chains and that.
Yeah,
I remember that so clearly.
Yep.
Yeah, like I probably look back on it now. If I was there in the same place, I'm like, God, that TV's small and God, it's blurry, and but absolutely love it. Like, yeah.
Definitely.
So that's one thing I thank you a lot for. Was like I might have just dismissed Zelda for ages.
Yeah,
until then.
Well, I'm glad you didn't, because Twilight Princess was the best time to get into it. And yeah, you're right. You did play a shit ton of it. I remember you stayed over at my place, and you didn't sleep.
Yeah,
it was like the day after you got it.
No, it wasn't the day after. I was up to
You're up to Kakariko, I think.
I was up to the desert. I was in the desert.
Were you?
Yeah, because it was
That's right too. Yeah.
It took me all night to do that dungeon, and like that was one of the most moody dungeons in the game as well. So I was, late at night, you're asleep, and I'm just like, I was actually like shitting myself.
Yeah, because it's just filled with like probably the best designed re-deads in the game.
Yeah,
in the series even, I should say. Like with the two-handed sword and the screaming's like really menacing. Like I had speaking of Zelda, I had nightmares of Re-Dead when I was a kid. But what did they look like then? They look like skinny guys with, as if somebody had just like thrown them out a car and they just dragged along the road at 50 kilometers per hour solely on their face. That's exactly what Re-Deads looked like in.
That's still pretty scary though.
Yeah, to a degree they were even scarier in Wind Waker, but they were only like 3 in the game.
Yeah,
but they were just when they had blank faces, but when they lit up, their teeth come up and their eyes come up. Like, ah!
It's not so much what they look like; it's the sound design, and it's the fact they take the control away from you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's so scary. Just like not having control of. Getting away from them is like what's so scary about them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so Zelda was our starting point, right? That's where we really pushed Nintendo Fever. between us two. We were already playing Pokemon before then.
We were playing Pokemon like different. I was playing like Mario as well.
Yeah, but like Zelda was like our big major connection. I think.
I feel like before Zelda, I was playing Pokemon and I was playing Mario. I was playing other games on Game Boy Advance, but I wasn't a Nintendo fan. I was a fan of those series.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But as you start adding Zelda and more franchises like WarioWare, Smash Bros, and all them into that as well, that's when it's like Nintendo is a brand that I really love.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then it sort of just culminated to that. Skip forward about a decade. Skip forward about a decade. So we'd been going to... We went to Connection Tour, just two of us.
Just for context, Connection Tour is like this thing they set up in Rundle Mall in Adelaide.
Yeah.
Where it's basically like marketing and you can come in and like try new DS games. And they also held like tournaments there.
Yeah.
2005, it was a Mario Kart DS tournament.
Yeah.
Which I actually won a race. And I was like 10 years old. There were photos on Nintendo's official Nintendo Australia website. Mm-hmm. And I'm tiny. I'm 10 years old. I'm like so short and that. And I'm just there against like teenagers and that, just, holding the DS. It's so funny to look back on.
Yeah.
And there's pictures of like Adam and Jordan there too. It's great, yeah.
Yeah, no, I do remember those pictures actually.
Yeah. And the one we went to was in 2008.
It was, yeah.
When, was it? It was just after Super Smash Bros. Brawl got released.
It was like 2 days after. No shit, 2 days after. And we attended a tournament there, and I lost in round 1. You lost in round 1, but I only lost in round 1. Actually, no, I won round 1.
I feel like one of us,
because I got into sudden death, and then I won round 1. Yeah, against something. I think. And then I was taken out by Lucas. It was
and Lucas was it Lucas and Wolf who were like the
Wolf
big characters
I
there?
think either Snake or Wolf won the tournament. I think it might have been Snake even.
Yeah, the Snake seems like it.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, we spent those 3 days just at the Connection Tour pretty much and running around Rundle Mall. And
isn't that crazy for that so long ago?
Yeah, it is.
And how different we were. How different were our lives then?
Yeah.
Especially yours.
Yeah.
You're a little kid, but now you're a parent of 2.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I mean, like I was saying before, skip a decade and here we are now. But like, when we sort of grew up, everybody from us has sort of moved away, We don't catch up with many people anymore. People have gone to uni. We see them when we go to Adelaide and stuff like that, and we
still keep in touch, but not as much as you would like.
Yeah, exactly.
Life moves on,
but
unfortunately,
we drew even closer, being to the fact that like we're some of the only couple guys left around anymore. So we see each other every week. We went and got the Wii U on launch, and we did all that, and like it was good. Had a fun time.
I feel like as far as our I guess real Nintendo fandom, like throughout the DS, we're obviously like love the DS and we're playing like all the first party games. And when it's like the 3DS, when like we bought it ourselves, we're old enough to buy it ourselves. That's when it's like, all right, we are like day one Nintendo fans. Buying it on day one, being there for the launch lineup. Even though like the 3DS's launch lineup was rubbish,
it was just
like I think it would have to be like one of the worst launches in history.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Like, just awful. Like there was not one like must-have game.
Yeah,
it was just like, I wonder what it looks like in 3D. You look at it, it's oh well, shit, it's actually 3D, nice, and that's pretty much as far as the excitement goes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I really did enjoy Pilot Wings Resort on there though.
Yeah,
what it was called, because I loved it in Wii Sports Resort. So just having it on the handles, the same thing. So cool.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's where I think like also like our nerdum has stepped up again.
Yeah,
as far as like Nintendo gaming and us like always catching up to talk about it, do multiplayer, to do Street Pass at the time. It's like, oh, we've got to get all the puzzle pieces and we're swapping them all the time. And yeah.
During the Wii U era, that's where we really suffered a bit, until Smash Brothers at least.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot going on, and it's sort of the reason why we stuck our guns to it and we really tried to roll with it. But we did move on to other consoles and stuff like that for the meantime, because it really it wasn't a fantastic time.
It was hard.
Yeah,
especially compared to the Wii. Like we were playing Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Guitar Hero 3, Wario, where we had like these like must play games like pretty much throughout the whole generation. We're just always playing them.
Yeah,
I'll come over to your place and you're just like cranking out some Guitar Hero tunes. I'm like, oh, nice.
Guitar Hero was great. That was a good time.
I remember watching you play Expert. I'm like, oh, No, I gradually went from like medium to hard. And I could play some pretty easy songs, expert, but I was no bloody Guitar Hero god like you. I couldn't go.
I still couldn't beat that game though.
You couldn't?
No, I always had trouble with the devil. I got through all the way up into the devil, but I had trouble with the devil. Yeah. And then by the time it was relevant anymore, I didn't really care, and I was just playing songs for high scores. So I just didn't really care about finishing it 100%. Do you know what I'm saying? I finished it on every other difficulty, but I just didn't beat the devil on expert.
Yeah.
Anyway, end of the Wii U's life, pretty much. Is when we decided, the both of us, that we were going to try content creation. So we tried a couple things. First, we did have we had a recorded podcast episode that went nowhere. We don't have it anymore, so if you're going to ask for it, good luck.
Yeah, that was real. It
was about Pokemon's 20th anniversary.
Yeah, because we recorded that we had my blue snowball in my kitchen, well, my parents' kitchen that it was.
Yeah,
and it was really echoey. It's like, an open room kitchen.
Yeah,
really echoey. Got a microphone that picks up everything.
Yeah,
and yeah. I can't remember what really talked about. I remember I was like absolutely stuffed and I could barely talk. I was like, just half falling asleep.
Yeah. We tried to go through each Pokemon generation and what we thought, but it ended up being like 2 hours long. And really, we weren't ready for it. But I mean, you being a big fan of podcasts, which you were, you listen to podcasts every day. We did want to sort of try and break into the medium at some point, but at the time we were also trying out YouTube, and I mean, it worked for a little bit.
Yeah, the stuff we did wasn't like edited or anything like that. It was just like let's plays, like us playing a game with the webcam on, and fairly just raw footage just put up to YouTube.
Yeah.
Which was pretty much what we wanted. We wanted, like, the sit back and just, like, chill with us.
It was a good excuse
atmosphere
to spend time together, too. Like, I think that was the biggest thing.
That's the main thing, yeah.
But that sort of come to a halt. We had some backed up footage, and I was going to upload it and do all that stuff. But I think we only had maybe about 10 videos at the very maximum at the ready. And you were going away for 6 months and went on a holiday.
It was 3 months. I wish it was 6 months.
3 months.
I wish it was 6 months.
You were talking 6 months at the time. At the time, you were like, oh, yeah, 6 months. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well...
Hashtag what?
Yeah.
Hashtag
like,
what am I
I know you want me to upload these things, but what am I going to do after we're fresh out of dry? You know what I'm saying? So...
Not upload anymore.
Well, it was a combination of that, and our internet was fucking awful. Like...
Absolutely shocking.
There's no other word for it. A lot of people shit on the NBN when it comes to city life, but NBN has been a godsend since it got here.
It's transformed it. We can actually use the internet.
We can actually use the internet. Before, it would take us 7 to 8 hours to upload a single video at 480p.
Yeah.
And they were 10 minutes long.
Yeah, and you couldn't even see our face. It's just that blurry. It's just like a patch of skin. That's pretty much what our faces are.
Yeah, exactly. And that, at the time, that's how we felt like that was one of our only real options to get into content creation. We worked really hard for it too. Like, we made logos. You've got a picture, a painted logo that your girlfriend did for you.
So our channel was called Power Pals. Like,
yes,
power as in like a power block from powers. Like, we're pals.
Yep. And the logo was a power block with Pokemon text.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we worked on it, and it worked really well, and it looked good, and we were pretty proud of it. But when it come to the holiday thing, that knocked over, and we still had shit internet by the time we got back.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of you would have uploaded the videos what we did if the internet wasn't awful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That, and if I had someone around to push me.
Yeah. I've got to be there with a whip, upload the videos.
Well, it's the same thing if I left. Like, you wouldn't feel as 100% motivated if I was like, hey, I'm fucking off for 6 months. See ya. You know what I'm saying? you wouldn't feel too motivated either, because you'd just be like, I like that week to week sort of deal. And I mean,
because
it's time to catch up.
A lot of it is just like, let's catch up and talk about video games.
Yeah, exactly right. And so, I mean, that kind of sunk, but we were still sort of tossing around, like, should we do this, should we do that? And podcasts was a big thing on our list.
Yeah, because we tried it. We tried it already. We tried it with like a couple of dummy episodes, I guess.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to do some community podcasts with Nintendo, Aussie Nintendo, that group, and the Another Castle communities.
Yeah,
they were doing it, like their own community-based podcast, and I got to go on that a couple of times, and I really enjoyed it. Like, because I think like it came up in the chat, and I was like, oh, who would like to be on? And I was like, oh, like I listen to podcasts all the time. It'd be so cool to be on an actual podcast. Yeah, and and I feel like that's sort of what I guess gave me the taste of being able to like do one ourselves. Yeah, and also just having the internet in mind, having the smaller file size always helped as well. Yeah, of doing an audio only show.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Not that it mattered in the end anyway, because eventually we did get NBN, and now we can do everything.
We can do everything,
which is great. Mm. And I mean, we'll get there and we'll do more than everything, but I think like podcasting as our medium at the moment is good for our time. Mm. When we get ourselves more sorted, we'll sort of try and push everything once again, maybe down the line. But
yeah, because like at the moment, our original Pow Pow's YouTube channel is going to be repurposed for doing stuff like for this podcast and doing like different videos and that.
Absolutely, yeah. But we recorded our first episode on a snowball with an iPad.
Yeah. Well, just backing up from that.
Right. Okay.
I remember thinking like this was when the Switch hadn't been announced yet.
Yep.
And it was what was it called again? The NX.
The NX.
It was called the NX, and I was saying to Bryce, all right, Bryce, we decided we're going to do this podcast, and we said, all right, Bryce, let's try and get this podcast done and out before the NX is announced and revealed.
Yeah.
And we were thinking about names, and this is one of the hardest things I find with starting something. It's just finding a name you're happy with.
I find it hard enough to name my children.
Well, probably your child's probably one of the most important things to name.
It is, yeah, but like you're right. Once you've got a name, you got to sort of stick with it. But I suppose it's like,
I guess if you name your kid, it's like, oh, it's just gonna track well on Google.
It's stuck with like that. That's the thing with the kid. It's going to be stuck with it for the next 60 to 80 years, 60 to 100 years even.
I hope so. I hope they live very young in the future. They might have technology if it takes them.
Might have anti-aging technology by then. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
But yeah, it's. But with the show, like we were tossing around name ideas for ages.
Because I had a big list of names.
Yeah,
and to be honest, the House of Mario was the very first one I wrote down.
Yep,
which is funny because looking back, I'm like, every now and again I'll like message Bryce like, oh, I got any name ideas? And I think I could. What I imagined you were doing is you're like sitting there, you pick up your phone, oh shit, you like think of a name quickly, you're like Nintendo Innuendo, you just send it off or whatever idea comes to your head. It's just like just throw out their ideas. I'm like, nah.
Yeah,
I remember thinking at one stage, like, I think there was like, what about a play on of Game and Watch? What about Game and Listen? So look it up. There's already like a heap called Game and Listen because doing a sort of knockoff version of like that naming's like it's already been done a lot.
Yeah,
and with the House of Mario, I'm sort of surprised. I was surprised that wasn't taken because a lot of articles, especially in say the mid 2000s, a lot of like sites would instead of saying Nintendo did this or Nintendo is releasing this, they'll say the House of Mario to sort of try and jazz up their articles.
Yeah,
so they're not saying Nintendo all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and I like every article I read had that in it, so that's why it came to my head and I wrote it down. And I quite liked the name.
Yeah,
but I guess one of the things I thought about was, are people going to think it's just a podcast about Mario games, not Nintendo as a whole?
Yeah,
which is an issue I feel like we probably do run into if people don't read. Like our full title is the House of Mario, a Nintendo podcast. I think that's obvious enough.
Yeah.
But if it's not, well, I guess so be it. But I quite like the name. I think I've quite enjoyed it over the last couple of years we've done it. I don't regret the name, which is a good start. So yeah. So it took us like 4 months from we got to get it done before NX, and then we release in May, pretty much. In between then, I went to RTX Sydney in 2017 because that was a big year for a lot of us because that was the first place you could play the Switch in Australia. I went there and the lines were just way too long and slow. I'm like, don't worry about it. I'll have my first experience with my own in a couple of months, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah.
But there, like, I'm a part of the Kind of Funny community, and a lot of the Australian Kind of Funny fans went there as well to meet the Kind of Funny guys, Greg Miller and Tim Geddes. And I went there because I'll be good to meet them because I've listened to a lot of their podcasts. They're a big inspiration for me as far as podcasting and content creation goes.
Mm-hmm.
And I met a lot of friends there that eventually launched their own podcast sort of not long after.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Explosion Network guys, they all met there. John O'Peck with Putting in Work, and so many people from there. Dash, Buddy, eventually met through being in that group, and it's just sort of the Australian content creators that sort of got us connected with a lot of those people.
Yeah.
And I think throughout the time, it's been so much fun just seeing each other grow.
Yeah, for sure. And helping each other too.
Yeah. And just being able to, I guess not feel alone. We're not just putting it out there and, it's just like...
Going to the void.
Going to the void.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, was it May 21st we released the first episode.
That's right.
And I remember doing the first episode. It was at your place, and before we went to fast food place, had some chips and that, and we were talking about excited about the podcast. We want to do the first episode of the podcast. We got the name, we got the art. Actually, talking about the art was just something I whipped up in in paint.net, just because it's like, all right, we've got the name, we just need a picture.
Need something, yeah.
We need something. We just got to get started. And I feel like that's something that if say someone else is out there wanting to start their own podcast, it's something you just got to get it out there, and it's got to evolve as it goes.
Mm-hmm.
That's something we learned, but we'll get into that as we go on. But the first episode when we're at the takeaway shop, we ended up just talking about Mario Kart. Our favorite Mario Karts, and we sort of afterwards we sort of laughed, and that's just typical us, just always talking about Nintendo.
Yeah,
it's not just because we got microphones in front of us or whatever. It's just what we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's what we love, and that's why it's so easy to talk about it a lot of weeks too. Weekly. I think my mum's like, "How do you talk about bloody Nintendo every week?" It's easy. It's so easy to talk about it.
It is
because we love it.
Extremely easy. Yeah.
I feel like
talking about anything you love, it's really like you could do it every day.
Gaming as a whole. If this was just a normal gaming podcast, I feel like we'll just default to a lot of Nintendo stuff anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, Xbox Game Pass was cool this week, or this Sony exclusive came out, which is really awesome. But then we're just like, what are you playing? Oh yeah, I'm playing.
And I mean, I like talking about other consoles and stuff, but it doesn't bring me the same joy as it does talking about Nintendo. I was a big Xbox fan and Halo fan, and I spent a lot of my time playing games like that and Call of Duty and all that stuff. But I mean, what do you talk about? For me, with them, talking about them with friends was like, I got an epic kill streak, or I got a Kilimanjaro or something.
Yeah.
It was something that really was a one-sided conversation, because most of the time playing multiplayer in games was just
competitive, showing how cool you are.
Also, I really like the design of the speckle on this dirt, and
because in every Mario game we love the design of the speckle of dirt.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what gets me excited.
Absolutely. I'm just saying,
I know what you mean.
You can't really. There's not really much you can sort of go on about when it comes to that type of thing. But Nintendo's always sort of delivered experiences throughout my childhood that really brought me to love video games, and that's where the House of Mario sort of really fits in, because I could sit down and I could talk about a game an episode, and I'd be able to talk for an hour. I could pull something out of the hat like Mischief Makers, for example.
Yeah.
And I could talk about that for an hour, because those games have left that imprint, and the joy of those games is sort of upon me. And I remember just about every Nintendo game I ever play, from Turok to Breath of the Wild to anything really. So yeah,
the games we love, they're a big part of our lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like a lot of people that don't play games won't understand that, but the people that seek out a Nintendo podcast and found ours and listen to this podcast, I think, obviously they'll understand that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's great to be able to share that with other people, whether we hear back from them or not. But if just having a part of their daily routine, I think it's really, really something cool.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think it was like the third episode. I think like you were at my place and we finished doing the episode on the Blue Snowball.
Yep.
And we're like, all right, this was something we both really enjoyed. So we sat down on Amazon and bought all the microphones and all of the stuff that we needed.
Yep.
And like that was quite an investment, but like we loved it enough. Like we knew this was something we wanted to keep going, and we knew it was something we needed to improve on and work on our skills and whatever. And we still know that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then our first guest, I think was episode 9. I believe.
Was. Yeah.
And you say the name because I'll butcher it like
Michael
I did.
Janoska.
And that was really cool, having our first guest, an international guest for the first one, and he had some really interesting stories which he told us on air and both off air as well.
Yeah.
And we're outside my place and we're just like, man, that was awesome. And we just had like a big sense of energy about it as well after having someone on the show.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Michael was such a good guest.
He was, yeah.
We really loved their parodies as the group Hot Chocolate Party.
Yeah.
And we used their songs in some of the jukeboxes at that point. And he had to pick out Michael picked out Farmer's Tan for that episode.
Yeah.
Which fit perfectly, considering you.
Yeah, yeah.
You pretty much live the Farmer's Tan.
I am.
You are the Farmer's Tan.
I'm the embodiment of the Farmer's Tan.
Yeah, exactly. And that song is so good, I still listen to it now.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to bring him back, but we didn't for Odyssey. And I really wish we did, because I do want to talk to him about Odyssey and what he thinks.
Stopping us. Still
no, yeah, I mean, we still will. I still see him online. I've got him added on Switch. You've got him added on Switch.
Yeah.
I still see him playing stuff every now and then.
If you're on at the right time, because he's like, we'll be in bed and he'll...
Yeah. He's from the States, so it's sort of, it's one of them things. But no, it was definitely a fantastic experience having someone like him come on. It validated a lot of things for us, like that if we just send a message and we get a response, then like he was somebody that had all this music up and he had all these views on YouTube and stuff like that, and we didn't think much of it. We sort of just think, we're only sort of the lowest of low at the moment, like we're only just starting. But he gave us a shot, and it really set us in a direction for a lot of things going on in the future. All the guests that we've had and all the people that we've talked to throughout our time, like at AvCon and PAX, and even just developers we've reached out to who want to come on the show and talk about the game and stuff. Like that became a core part of our identity for a while, was talking to people like that.
Yeah, it gave us like a sense of, gave us I guess a bit more confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, talking to strangers is one thing, and I do it on the internet daily. Like, I have, being somebody who plays a lot of MMORPGs, I talk to strangers all the time.
Yeah, I don't mind talking to strangers, but I was nervous for like that episode, just for the fact I guess I had expectations in my head I wanted to match.
Yeah,
it wasn't because I'm like, he's a scary person.
No. And I mean, I get that. But it is the same sort of thing. Like, I'm going to monologue a bit, but when you pug for rating or something, you kind of feel like you've got to hold expectation, otherwise you'll be kicked out. That's just how it works. So you've got to play to your best ability, do all that stuff. It sort of translates in the same way of like, I need to uphold this, I need to uphold this, and you're like, I'm so nervous, and I'm like, I'll be right, I'll help flow the conversation. I'm pretty used to peer pressure.
Yeah,
like that's something that I had a lot of playing.
Peer pressure.
Well, playing such a social game like an MMORPG, it is peer pressure. Once you've sort of solidated yourself in that sort of thing, your name gets known. So if you're known as somebody that is shit at doing this, then people are going to avoid having you in their parties or whatever. It's stigmatism. And it's how it works. But like even just in a social variety of talking to people for a podcast, it's sort of like, I understand in your head what you're thinking, and that's why I knew your stresses at the times, because it is peer pressure in a way. You feel like you're peer pressured they're not intentionally doing it, but you feel like you're peer pressured to uphold a standard and.
Yeah, or it's not necessarily that. It's just it's a new set. Like it's a skill I've never used.
Excessively, yeah.
Interviewing, because like you're not just talking. You're like thinking ahead of what you're going to ask next.
Yeah.
And then if they say something and it goes to something else, you can't ask that question anymore. Then you've got to sort of detour it off again.
Yeah.
Like it's just a different set of skills, which I feel like I've gotten better at over like the few episodes and that we've done.
Yeah.
Of having guests on, and yeah. I'm pretty happy with how it's all gone, and and what it really brought to my attention too was just like how this podcast, it started off as us. It's like this will give us an excuse to be like, we have to catch up once a week, because like we could have gone like a couple of weeks without seeing each other, and I'm like, oh crap. So I messaged Bryce and like, oh, how you going? After 2 weeks, haven't seen you. You're like, oh yeah, fine. What have you been up to? Not much. I haven't been up to much either. We had no excuse not to see each other.
Yeah.
But
But up until this point, we started before the Switch even come out, and we're all the way up to Switch now. We've covered pretty much every basis we can on the Switch. I think it's pretty safe to say Switch is probably both our favourite console of the current generation that's going.
Yeah.
And covering it every week has been like an absolute pleasure in comparison to what it would have been if we started at the Wii U. Like we're at 100 episodes now. Most of them have been Switch, and it's been fantastic.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
It's been good because we started in May, so that's a couple of months after the Switch came out. So we missed like a lot of the Breath of the Wild sort of hype, but then we started like afterwards, sort of lead up to E3 is really like when we started.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
So, Bryce, I just want to bring up some stats. Stats for the show. Basically, talk about how the show's evolved and how it's going. I know a lot of podcasts sort of treat the stats as like your income, like it's like taboo to talk about it.
Right. Yeah.
But I think it's just an interesting way to gauge of how the show's gone, just because with podcasting, you don't see subscribers, you don't have a comment section, so it's a lot of how podcasters sort of see how their show's going, apart from like maybe a reach out on social media or something, is just how the stats are going. Are they consistent? Are people listening?
Yeah.
And I want to start off with episode 1. So for the first month of the show, we got 40 people through the RSS feed and 50 people clicking on the show in the 1 month.
Yeah.
So in hindsight, considering we started from pretty much nothing, that's having 40 people, at least click on it, and maybe a few of them actually take the time to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. I was like looking back on it, I'm like, that's
for the first
awesome.
month. Yeah.
Because you hear like some people will be lucky to get 10, 20, 5, like whatever it is. So yeah, and I'd like to thank everyone who sort of supported us, like all our friends we sort of met through the kind of funny meetup and everything. A lot of people reached out to us, and I still remember Brendan White. He had a listen, and he said about the intro. The intro was too long, and the intro was too long on episode 1.
Yeah, it was,
because I did it all live through the iPad, just on a sound panel, and I hit the the intro music, which wasn't the current one. It was like just a random one each week.
Yep.
And I got a bit nervous, and I didn't know when to cut it in. So the intro went for like a minute.
Yeah,
which is ridiculous. It should be like 8 seconds.
Yeah, it's got to be short. Yeah.
So there's that. So it's all a learning experience, and also throughout doing the show, like a lot of what we see as the show has changed a lot as well.
Yeah,
like we introduced skits at a point to sort of give us a bit more, creativity apart from just talking and bringing up topics and all of that. And that's been a major aspect of the show I've really enjoyed doing.
Yep.
Some weeks it's been a bit hard, I guess a bit hard if we're don't have much time.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think it's really fun to do, and if anything, it makes us laugh a lot of the time.
It does.
Just we're here just like laughing about it, and then you put it out and you don't hear much. Like I don't know if people were offended by it or they really enjoyed it. I don't know, but it's really good.
Yeah, for sure.
So from episode 1, where we're getting about 40 so downloads in the 1 month.
Yeah.
We now get about, say, 100 in the first day, generally. give or take, depending on the week or what the topic is or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But as far as that growth, I'm really really happy we can be a part of some people's weekly routine, I guess.
Weekly draw, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and I really appreciate just everyone who takes the time to listen to this and guess be a part of it and support us. Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing for us is that like the drive each week really is that we have all these people listening, and the numbers to some people are like, oh, that's not a ton of people, but for us, to be honest, like as people that just come and sit in front of a microphone and talk, like it's big for us.
Yeah, like think about if there was 100 people in this room right now.
Yeah.
And like depending on the week, we might get so we get the 100 in the first day, but for the week we'll get like 150, 170.
Yeah.
We've had episodes that go on to 200 for whatever reason.
Usually average is about 170-ish at the moment.
Yeah,
which is pretty good.
Which is fantastic. Like I know like some podcasters might be like, that's rubbish. That's no ratings at all. And there'll be other people that are
a
like,
lot of those podcasters start with names or companies behind them too. Like we're just starting out as we are.
Yeah.
Which is that makes it pretty big for us.
Yeah, exactly. And there'll be other podcasters out there too that are like, that's really good.
It's not often people make their name purely through podcasting, if that makes sense. It's usually through other means, whether it be brand type deals like IGN podcasts or
a YouTuber who makes his own podcast, who already has backing,
who already has For us to start off as podcasters and get to where we are at, which is anywhere between 150 to 200 plays a week, like that for us, just thinking about 200 people in one room, like you said before, is amazing.
Yeah,
really.
And like you think what was I thinking? I can't remember.
Oh dear God!
But I remember what I was talking about. Like the guys in the Discord always like giving us feedback and everything. That's awesome. But like every now and again, you might get something on Facebook saying, "Oh yeah, I listened to it, and I really enjoyed I've been listening for the last month. Really enjoy it," and that just like gives us like a real warm feeling in our heart. Just yeah. And like even going back to when we first started, like I sort of like, we're going to talk into a microphone. It's going to be a thing we're going to put up, and it's going to be cool.
On the airwaves.
But it's a lot more of a part of me than I thought it would be.
Yeah, definitely. It's become something that's sort of in the back of our minds at all times, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's not a day I don't think about it.
No, exactly right. Yeah, I think about the podcast every day. It's become, especially with all the connections that we've made with people and the people we talk to on the internet now and Twitter and Discord and all the collaborations we're a part of, like Start and 8-Bit and all that. It really has brought us up to a level where we're interacting with all these people, we're going to places and being recognised for the stuff we do, and that type of thing. Not personally recognised so much, but like by corporations or events or something like that. Like, oh, you guys are with 8-Bit, or you guys are the House of Mario, or that to us is crazy. Like,
well, we had a was it PAX 2017? There was another castle meetup, and I met a lot of those guys for the first time in that community. And there's Luke there who listens to the podcasters in who's also in the Discord.
Yep.
And he said he recognised my voice. He's like, where do I recognise you from? I'm like, no, I think he said, do you do a podcast? I'm like, yeah, the House of Mario. Oh yeah, I've listened to a couple of episodes. I'm like, oh well, like that was really nice. And Tam was there too, and he said, yeah, I've listened to some too. And I was like, it was so nice to hear.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah, it was really weird too. Like someone's like, I recognise your voice.
I recognise your voice, Drewby. Yeah.
And like as far as the podcast goes all up, we've had, I guess, 15,000 downloads all up, which is, when you put it all together, that's pretty incredible.
Well, 15,000, yeah. That's averaging at what? Has to be 150 an episode, right?
About.
Roughly average. That's pretty, I definitely can't complain with that.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because like you think about it, like we know probably let's just say roughly 50 people who probably listen to it, like friends of ours and people in the Discord. And
there are people all over the world that I never would have even thought, really. You know, like even people from non-primary English-speaking countries, like Germany and stuff like that, listen to the show.
Yeah, and also the main country that listens to us is America.
Yeah,
obviously, with like America is like one of the biggest markets.
Yeah, for sure.
And like a lot of the people who speak English are there.
yeah.
But yeah, it's just I just when we started and whatever, you just thought, oh yeah, we're Australian. Australians will listen to it.
Yeah,
but yeah, maybe not the case. It just whatever.
I mean, look at our top cities. There's 3 there. We have 2 in Australia, which is Adelaide and Brisbane. And then we have 1 in America, which is Ashburn.
Yeah. And it's pretty cool, like people in Adelaide are listening to us, like, you know, real close to home.
Yeah, for sure. Top countries, we've got United States at 5,000, Australia at 4,500, and United Kingdom at 748.
Which is cool. Then you've got some real different countries, like as you go down too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
you got some like non-English speaking countries.
Let's go. Okay, let's go through the top 10 real quick. We've got United States at 1, Australia at 2, United Kingdom at 3, Canada at 4, and then we've got Singapore at 5, Germany at 6, Sweden at 7. Sweden. Shout out to Defua because he probably helped us out there too.
Good point.
Netherlands at 8. Norway at 9 and Mexico at 10. Like, wow.
Mexico, yeah.
Like, just thinking about, like, literally the last 5.
Yeah, just people all over the world.
Yeah, the first 5 are, well, the first 4 are major English-speaking countries. And then 5 down the line, like, it's not even their primary language. That's nuts to me. Like, I think that's crazy that, you know, listeners from that are listening. Well, listeners from those countries are listening to us speaking English, speaking Java, let alone like our Australian mannerisms that we've got going on.
Yeah, but you know,
mate. You know,
yeah, mate. You played the latest Nintendo game. You played some Animal Crossing.
Keep in mind, some of those listeners from those countries are also probably primarily English speaking too, like people that have moved over from America to
traveling or who knows,
or traveling. Yeah, but. You know, I can't imagine that every single one of those plays from those countries would be just from those types of people. They would be people that are originated from that country, which even then, like, it baffles me. It's amazing. And I mean, thank you to literally everybody that's overseas listening. Like, not only do we have an Australian audience, but we also have, you know, a massive worldwide reach, at least massive for us, you know?
Yeah. Like it's more than just each other.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, like, oh, it's crazy. Absolutely mental.
All right, Bryce, I want to bring up this question from Dylan Blight at Viva La Dill.
At Viva La Dill.
He asked, how do you feel about the House of Mario and content creation after 100 episodes? What do you hope to achieve in the future? So what would you like for the podcast, for video content, for whatever it might be? What would you like to sort of see in the future?
I mean, I want to see more growth primarily. I do want to see us have, like, okay, endgame goals. Let's talk endgame goals.
Kill Thanos. Yeah, go on.
Bad joke.
Yeah, okay.
So endgame goals realistically would be to push on with the podcast, obviously try to outreach and grow more. We're at episode 100 now. We can only go up, and we're not quitting anytime soon.
Well, we might go down. We'll do episode 99 again next week.
We've passed that 100 mark. It's a milestone for us. I think that pretty much solidifies that this show is not stopping for a long time, and we'll keep doing it as long as Nintendo keeps making great content.
Well said.
You know, and I would like to see us sort of get a more permanent setup than the rigid setup we've got going. We've got good microphones and stuff, but I think we need a good desk to accompany it, and some sort of way to share information a bit better between each other when we're talking with the computers. Like, we've got a pretty decent setup now, but it'd be nice to have like a screen or something where we can sort of read stuff a little bit easier together, you know. And then sort of just work on improving the overall quality of the show to its peak, and then finding that perfect balance where we've got everything all set up and we can just keep making like a phenomenal podcast every week. At the moment, we're doing a pretty good job of it, but I feel like there's always going to be room for improvement.
There's always room for improvement, no matter what you do.
Yeah,
no
exactly.
matter how good or bad it is.
But I would just like to see that room for improvement sort of, widen and, get up there, and us sort of making the most of that space. And I think like that's mainly my goal, is to go up. And I mean, I'm obviously really happy where we are now, doing what we are, and with what we've got with views, and sort of the state of our content's pretty good at the moment. But I would like to see us expand in content, so YouTube, more streams, etc. But at the moment, between us two, we both work 2 jobs. So the further we can push up, the better, and just, make it run with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like as far as this podcast goes, I would like to introduce, like, we've talked about it. We won't go into too much detail right now, but in the future, do like special series on this RSS feed.
Yeah.
So like, have the normal episode each Tuesday as it currently is. Also, maybe introduce, like, say, a new game's coming out. We'll do like a series on games like from the past, and sort of do big episodes about sort of certain games.
Yeah.
Whether that's like a retrospect type of thing or whatever it might be. Like, we've got ideas for a big series coming out late this year, which we'd like to do.
Yep.
But yeah, I'd like to introduce sort of more like fun stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And like, I've got ideas for like a lot of content stuff I'd like to do outside of this as well, which I'll talk about probably later this year. I won't talk about anything now, but yeah, looking forward to that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like obviously the video stuff, I'm keen to do that. That is like a more of a time sink, as well as obviously doing this still.
Yeah, we need that was part of my other thing about having new technology and stuff like that, and get a good computer going for video editing and all that stuff. I think like that sort of all incorporates and encompasses that. Because I'd love to do all of that, but we have to work our way up to it. And I mean, we've been working there, but we're slowly improving over time.
Yeah. And like I'll say, we're always open up to constructive criticism about the show if you want to put it in there.
Plop it in the Discord, plop it in the review section. That's what we want to hear, because at the end of the day, we make this show because not only does it satisfy us to sit down and talk with each other and gag on about Nintendo, but it also makes us happy to bring something to people's day that they want to listen to and actually enjoy.
Hopefully.
Well, I hope so. I hope they're not listening just to spite themselves. They're using it in some like homogenous torture.
No, that's probably all the downloads are just from like torture chambers that just like put on the computer. Just put on that, like, no, turn it off.
Not the House of Mario. No. Yeah, like I want to improve the overall quality of the show for the people listening more than I do for us, because at the end of the day, we do this like as a thing for us to catch up. But as we've grown, it's become more than that. And I think it's really important that we use the opportunities we have to push up and keep working hard. And, it's our personal project that we love very dearly. And it's obvious that climbing all the way up to episode 100, we're still very much into it. And we want to keep moving forward. So yeah, I think that kind of sums it up pretty well anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree.
All right.
Well, yeah. So, Bryce, do you hear something at the front door?
I don't know. You should probably check it out.
All right, let's go and have a look. Oh, Bryce, I'm just looking through the little manhole. It looks like it's all the guys, it's all the neighbours, and I think they're all from the Discord community. What do you think they're over for?
Well, I mean, they're invited, so let them in.
All right, let's let them in. Hey guys, how we going? What's happening?
Hey, what are you doing here?
What's all this bloody racket?
You've been having too many parties over here.
It's getting too noisy. Come on.
Yeah, we're all about the parties.
And somebody died. All right.
Anyway, guys, thank you very much for coming on the House of Mario. This is really special. You guys are the ones in our Discord community who I absolutely love going into like our Discord channel and like seeing you guys in there, being able to talk with you, being able to Talk Nintendo, being able to get feedback for the show, beats, just have people there listening and stuff. It's really cool. So I guess I'll introduce you all. First off, we got Brendan. How we going, man?
Yeah, good. How's it going, Drew?
Very good. Excellent. We got Sam.
Hey, how's it all going?
We got Jamie.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And we got Metadox.
That's me. How's it going?
A lot of originality there.
Yeah, I'm the other person. I mean, yeah, I'm here. I mean, I was here in the skit, but I'm here, I guess.
Yeah. Just in case I have to introduce you again.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I guess that's polite. If that's the way you want to go about it, I guess. Yeah.
So I've got you guys here because it's episode 100. We're here celebrating 100 episodes of the show. Bryce and I, we're excited. We're proud to get to this point to be able to. We've been putting a fair bit of work into it for a bit over 2 years. And I guess I'm just want to ask, how you guys found out about the show and what some of your favourite memories or episodes or whatever it might be,
and why you continue to support people like us.
So we'll start with Brendan. We'll go in order.
Sure. Well, I guess for me, it's because I know you guys from our Another Castle days. I assume most listeners won't remember Another Castle since we had an audience of about 20 people at our height, but back then on the forums, I know Drew was there. Bryce we brought on towards the end, I believe. We got him to do some interviews, and Bryce, I'm still waiting for that Atelier Sophie review. I think it's been about 5 years, but
I mean, I was with Drew back at Another Castle and Aussie Nintendo. Like, I go that far back, and then I remember Dave approached me and said, "Do you want to do stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." When Another Castle was launched, and that I got through 2 reviews, and that Atelier Sophie review I could not do. That game was so incredibly boring. I don't know how people like it. I really don't. It was like 90% crafting and 10% RPG battles. It was really like, I don't know. I don't understand. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't blame you. There was a few reviews we got people to do that the games were mind-boggling to them. I think there was one review where Kay said he spent like half an hour playing the game and then just wrote a review because it was so bad. But anyway,
right.
I think it was some prison escape the Escapists, and I think his review was basically just saying it was marginally better than Prison. So that's the life of a video game reviewer, I think. But anyway, so I guess my association with you guys started there, and I think it was around 2017 you guys started the podcast, and you were advertising it on your Facebook and in the Another Castle Discord community, and I started listening from there. And I've been along from the ride from the very beginning, I guess, and it's been a great ride. I think one of the highlights for me has been, I think it was quite early on, but probably around episode 20 or so, you guys introduced the skits, and I think from there it really took a life of its own. And there's been some very memorable skits, like I think some of my favourites would include the Reggie one's always a lot of fun, and for whatever reason, I vividly remember one where one of you guys is going to the shops to buy a game, and I just found that quite hilarious, and I don't really understand why, but
no, we don't either.
I don't know why, but I remember sitting there listening to it and just laughing. But
there are some weeks where we're like Bryce has got to go, and like, all right, we've got 10 minutes to do a skit. Oh crap! And we're like, all right, and I say to him, we've got to do a skit. Like we sit there for about a minute, just like scratching our chins. And I was like, we just say something stupid. We put some music to it, and there it goes. And some other times, it's a bit more thought goes into it, but I don't know if it necessarily makes it a better or worse skit. The more thought that goes into it, some of the good ones are just off the cuff type of thing.
Well, exactly.
The Cloud Save one.
And I think that fits. I think that fits the style perfectly of the two of you. That you just ad lib, and it's always a bit ridiculous and a bit surreal. But
yeah. What about you, Sam? How did you come across the podcast, and what are some of your memories associated with it?
I first found out about you guys on the Nintendo voice chat forum. I think you posted saying, like, oh, this is my podcast. I thought, I'll give it a bit of a listen. I remember the first episode I listened to was about Wario, and
Oh, yep.
And because
what a first episode.
Yeah, and because Wario's like one of my favourite Nintendo Mario characters, I thought, oh, righty, this seems pretty good. So I gave it a bit of a listen, and I thought, geez, and you were Aussie. I didn't know you were Australian, and I thought, oh God, is that what we sound like? You know?
yeah.
I'm so used to listen to American YouTubers and podcasts, and I hear a couple of Aussie boys from the country, and I'm like, oh man. But so no, I just kept listening from there, and I think the one episode that really got me listening, full on, was you did a big one about DS games, and talked a lot about DS games and stuff, and that was a console I missed. I didn't really play that generation of games, so I really missed out on a lot of games there, and to hear you guys talk about them all was good, and found out about all these games that I never really heard of, but never played and that, so it was good to listen to that and find out a bit of gaming history that I kind of didn't know about, and put them down on my backlog of games to go back to. So yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I would have assumed we would have lost a lot of listeners after that Wario one, like that fan fiction of it happened at the end. But it's interesting to know that was someone's first episode. I wonder how many people's first episode that might have been.
Oh, that's a good question. I hope not too many, because it set the tone for some really bad shit later on, really, didn't it?
We had our friends on for another fan fiction, and it was Dash, Dylan Blight, and Paul James. And all of them were not comfortable with the things I was trying to get them to say. But yeah, I think it just suits our sense of humour down to the ground, just that sort of really stupid, crude stuff.
Stupid toilet humour.
Yeah.
That's Australians for you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so no, that was kind of where I started, and I think that was probably, it would have been probably a good 12 months ago now. Nearly, so it's been good, and then once I joined the Discord, it's been real good. You try to keep in contact with everyone, and you always talking to everyone in there, so it's really good, and it's just a good community to be part of.
Yeah, cheers, dude. Jamie, how about you?
So, like Sam, I first found you guys through the NVC podcast forums on Facebook. So you'll post up there, Drew, on a submission Sunday, and I've always trying to look for Aussie gaming podcasts to listen to, so downloaded yours. I think my first episode was somewhere in the early 20s, and instantly you two guys are just relatable, because I'm someone who came from a country town, sort of live in a country city now, but the similarities sort of between everyone just makes it feel a lot relatable and comfortable as well, and it's easy to listen to. The one thing that I found quite funny throughout the 2 years that you've had were the skits. And, of course, the best one that I can think of off the top of my head was the Dash Culture crossover episode with the DC skit. I had the Donkey Kong rap in my head for over a week after that episode. I could not get rid of it. It was just that funny. And, this community, it's tight-knit. Everyone gets along. There's no arguing. It's one of the better communities that I've ever had to engage with. And I was surprised to find out too that, because I used to be on the Aussie Nintendo forums, that Bryce recognised my previous username on there. So
that's right.
That was quite surprising to know that it had been that far back, and there was a link already there. So it's funny how the world works like that sometimes.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's a smaller world than you think, just with how you might have connected in some way, but you never know, especially back in forums where it's just you would have had a picture of something completely different.
And I had a completely different username back then, but just hearing you guys each week, and it's always a lot of fun. It's great to listen to, and just full of good Nintendo content. And one other thing that I could think of that I think we should have been really proud of as a community was last year when we won the Dash Awards. That was when I think the community really came together, especially when we saw the early polling that one of the other podcasts was quite high above us, and got that.
The other podcast was Colin Moriarty's podcast, Sacred Symbols, which
That's
is
what it was, yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, his podcast is huge, and he, like, if he said anything on Twitter, he would have obliterated us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Colin would have seen it. It's like, we're lucky on that thing. And just like with you guys backing us and being able to get enough votes to eventually take it out, that meant so much to Bryce and I. When we found out we were nominated, just like maybe, you know, a panel of people we knew or didn't know said, you know, these guys should be in the running against these other great shows, which, you know, I listen to on a weekly basis as well. I was really, you know, happy with that. And just the fact that you guys gave us 1 vote or 2 votes or whatever it is on the daily, we were absolutely thrilled with that. So, and it gave us a reason to, you know, call us the award-winning Nintendo podcast as well. Because why not? Take it and run with it if you get the opportunity.
Gotta love that 120 Power Star rating, hey?
Yeah. Our friend Simon, he said we're almost at 120 episodes.
Yeah, I saw that
120
tweet. Yep.
Power Star rating. I was thinking, yeah, well, we've still got 20 more episodes until we can get to the top of the castles and meet Yoshi. We're still not quite there. You know, we've just finished the storyline. Basically, we still got to like do the bit of cleanup for the stars, but we'll get there.
For you guys too, like you've had quite a lot of guests on the show from the 8-Bit Network, the Explosion Network, and a few other places, and also your guests from like Avcon. It's connected me to a lot of other podcasts too. That's where I was going. It's all pretty much started from the two of you guys, and the amount of listeners that I listen to now is just mind-boggling compared to where I started. So I have to thank the two of you for that.
No, and thank you for going and checking everyone else out too. Like, I'm a big believer of, you know, we've got friends who make great shows and, you know, great, whether it's videos, podcasts, whatever it might be. I'm a big believer in sort of trying to show them to as many people as possible, even if it was just you or just you guys here. It means a lot that you went and checked those guys out too, because, you know, I love those guys since I've met them, you know, a couple of years ago, and it's all been good from there. And Jamie, you left the most memorable iTunes review for me, because in our iTunes review, you gave us some real good feedback about the basically Nintendo Jukebox, whether it was the one episode or it was every episode. I don't know, but it was like a bit too loud. Like it, and ever since then, I'm like, all right, I've got to make sure that I make the audio levels like good, because back then I didn't have these headphones. I was just like doing it off of like normal earbuds.
Yeah,
and yeah. It didn't have quite the bass that like your car speakers might have or whatever, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. And I really appreciate just like the constructive feedback like all of you guys have had for us guys going throughout the show, because it's really important. Like, without feedback, we don't know if we're doing anything right, don't know if we're doing anything wrong. We can sort of like listen back and get our own opinions of like what worked and what didn't, but at the end of the day, like, you guys listening to it, your feedback matters the most. So, yeah, thank you very much.
No, that's all right. And it sort of spurred me to do other reviews as well of other podcasts as well. I've probably done about 20, 25 reviews on various different podcasts. Just, it gets that feedback and that, not the criticism, but it gives them something to think about. And by implementing that into their own thing, then it makes it better for everyone.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. All right, Metadocs, we'll move on to you, dude. What are some of your favourite memories, and how did you find the show?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't actually remember exactly how I found the show. I think I was just looking for something to like listen to on my way to school. But I remember it was around Easter last year, and I think it was episode 35 that I listened to. And I noticed, oh, hey, it's been about a week since the episode was out, so a new one should be coming up today. And it didn't. So I went into the Discord and asked, and I wasn't expecting an answer at all, because most community, like most big people, you know, I'm struggling to find a word, but
it's alright, we're not big, so
yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, I didn't know that at the time, but the next day you were like, oh. Well, no, not the next day. The next week on the podcast, you're like, oh yeah, we had Meta coming in, asking us where the episode was, and you know how that made your day, and that really made my day. Yeah. Well,
it would have made my day, because it's like, oh, someone's asking about the show. Like,
yeah.
We could have went a month and no one, you know, cared. But having you say like, oh, where is it? Oh, someone's actually wanting to listen to it. Oh, that's cool. I think that was like a nice wake up for us. Yeah, What do you reckon one of your favourite skits or episodes or something that's memorable anyway, something where you're like, what the hell was this? Something you're just disgusted about.
Disgusted about? Well, why don't I start with a fan fiction reading?
That is some of the cringiest stuff ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm glad that didn't come up again. Yeah.
It's all right. It's in the backlog now. If anyone wants to go and hear it, they can. But I don't think we'll do another one.
Nah, I think with the fan fiction readings, it was sort of just like it was much funnier reading them than it was probably listening to them.
Yeah,
just in hindsight.
Definitely.
But it was funny.
Yeah.
It was funny for us at least, and at the time. Yeah, well, at the time, it was sort of like, we find this funny. Surely other people find this funny, but listening back to it, it doesn't sound too funny.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's a learning experience. So,
Oh yeah.
Like I know how funny it can be reading some of those weird fan fictions, because sometimes me and my mates read some absolutely bonkers stuff off of fanfiction.net, and it is the funniest Discord call ever. But I guess actually listening to what it's like to it, not being there and laughing with everyone, it's quite a different experience.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's also pretty context heavy as well. Like you might be listening at home, you're like, this is funny, but you also might be in the car with your wife and like, what the hell is going on? And who knows, you might have a sadistic wife and she might be really enjoying it, but I guess it goes from person to person. All right, guys. That was a lot of fun. I enjoy hearing about the show and that, because it's not often you can sort of talk about it with people that actually engage and listen to it. But I'm going to jump to a bit more Nintendo talk here. One of our friends, Ashley Hobley, he left us a question. He asked, what game would you happily play 100 times to completion? And he asked if you could prove it by doing it, but probably not 100 times. But hypothetically, what game could you just play again and again and again and not get sick of it? So we'll go back in order. We'll go back to Brendan.
All right. So for encountering this question for the first time just now, I think the first game that pops to mind would be Lilac Wars on the 64, and I think it's always been one of my favourite games. And I guess it's a bit of a cheating answer, I guess, because it is a game that you can easily play over and over again. Well, it actually encourages it, since you can play through the game in about an hour, depending on the playthrough, about an hour. So I'd have to go with Lilac
and branching paths and everything too.
Well, exactly, because I've actually never unlocked the hard mode on Lilac Wars, which I know you can do if you get gold medals on all the levels. But
wow.
I still haven't done that on either the 64 or the 3DS version, but I think that is a game that everyone should play if they haven't, and they should especially play the train levels, since that's one of the best sort of arcade levels I've ever played in a game.
Good old Macbeth. That's a good level, that one. So is Area 6. Area 6 is...
Exactly.
Yeah.
What about you, Bryce? We'll jump to you.
Okay. Hard one for me, but if I had to go back and say it, it'd still probably be Ocarina of Time. I mean, yeah, it's probably an obvious call to anybody that's ever listened to the podcast, but that game holds so much sentimental value to me for multiple reasons. And if you've listened to the show before, you've heard me talk about him. And it is something that I'll never get sick of, and nowadays I could probably complete that game in less than 8 hours without thinking too hard about it. Well, yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward now, right? Like, I've completed it probably 5 times already, 6 times.
Yeah.
But, if I was really going to be inept about it, I could finish the game in 17 minutes, like some speedrunners or something. So it really wouldn't be that bad.
Doesn't count. That doesn't count.
You got to get the experience.
I mean, okay, all right then. So even without speedrunning tactics, it would still... you could still probably chop it all the way down to about 3 hours. It's...
Really? How?
That's insane.
Really,
yeah, that is.
As long as you know where to look, what to do. Like when you consider temples like the Spirit Temple or the Forest Temple, they cut your time up to maybe an extra couple of hours sometimes, because those temples are really annoying to backtrack, re-navigate, all that sort of stuff. But if you've got a path, then you've got it set for pretty much every other dungeon, plus them two, you can get it done pretty quickly. It's not as long as it makes it out to be sometimes.
Yeah, well, you got to prove Ashley right. You got to finish 100 times. So get on it.
You know, he's the type of person I would expect to pose me a sort of challenge like that, I guess. And I'm just going to say to Ashley, sorry, mate, I don't have the time.
Alrighty. What about you, Sam?
I don't know. Thinking about playing a game 100 times is pretty crazy, but if
What
I
about
had
50? Yeah, what about 50? That's enough.
What about 5?
Yeah. I tend to kind of play games and then maybe not pick them up for another 5 or 6 years. Take me a while. But if I had to pick one, I reckon I'd pick probably Pokemon Silver or Pokemon Gold.
Excellent choice.
It's a game that I just always could play. Like when I was a kid, like you just restart it and you know you can build a different team every time you go through. And it just built so much on the first generation in just so many good ways. Like you kind of take it for granted if you play like Gen 2 and then you go and play Gen 1 and you're like, you know, you walk up to a bush and you just can't cut it. You know, you got to go through the menu, but you know, in Gen 2 you just select stuff. But probably Pokemon Silver. You know, just get a different team every time you go through and there's a good choice of Pokemon and yeah, probably Pokemon Silver.
That's the best thing about Pokemon too. You can like one run, you might be like, all right, I'm gonna get rid of my starter. I'm gonna just catch all the first 6 Pokemon, see how I go. You can like really mix it up rather than just like go through the story and do the same thing again.
Well, that's what I did with Let's Go. Like this time, I just picked a team of Pokemon I'd never use. Like you know, Pokemon that I'm like, they don't have to technically be strong in any way. Just you know, I had Tangler in my team because I'm like, I've never had Tangler. I never wanted a Tangler, but I thought, oh yeah, something different. So I think with Pokemon, you could definitely just go through the game so many different times, like with different Pokemon, and I think I could play that 100 times. Maybe.
I think Generation 2 is a good one to pick too because I just feel like those. It's probably slowly becoming my second favorite generation, but it was my first because every time I think about Black and White having a sequel and that sequel being so good, it overdoes it for me. But Gen 2 is like, it's not only a really good experience through Johto, like Johto is a really damn good region, but it was also a throwback to Gen 1's region being so good as well. And as a kid, going back to Kanto was one of the best experiences. It's like a whole end game in its own, and I think that's what makes it so great. Whereas most Pokemon games kind of it feels like they're shorter without that type of thing nowadays. I don't know what it is. I guess because
half the amount of badges, I guess. So
well, yeah, it is. It is, but so it typically ends up around about the same time for a playthrough. To be completely honest, like it's not actually that much.
Yeah, you can earn the 8 Kanto badges really quickly. Like you know what you're doing.
I actually think like the cinematics and stuff they've added into Pokemon games in recent years have really like budget up the time, and that's why they feel like they're statistically around about the same length each time. As the more the cinematics get drawn into it and stuff like that, they sort of bump up the time an extra hour, and you know all those text boxes X and Y was very guilty of that.
Yeah, I feel like the cinematics they actually made the games less replayable because you know you're just doing the same thing again and again. Whereas like you can change up your team, but you're always dragged to the same point. Whereas like your exploration is really limited.
Yeah. Yep.
What I really liked too about the first generations was you could pretty much catch the whole Pokedex in those games. Like Mew you couldn't get, and Celebi was a special event. But besides that, you could get them in the game, whereas you start moving on to your Gen 3, Gen 4, there's a lot more special like event Pokemon, and then with Fire Red and Leaf Green, like it was really hard to try to fill your Pokedex, but I found with the first 2 generations, like you could complete your Pokedex quite easy, and you know if you just had if you had a friend with the game, you know you could do that. Whereas you start getting a Gen 4, Gen 5, and now like it's just so hard, and you got to go through multiple games and it just starts getting a bit chaotic.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's a great pick, man. I would quite happily pick Gen 2 as well.
Gen 2
what about you, Jamie?
I was just about to say, Gen 2 was probably the closest I got to completing the dex before I completed it in Gen 6. So it was like 7 or 8 short. But the game that I would probably play 100 times over is probably one of my favourite games of all time, Donkey Kong Country 2 on the Super Nintendo.
Yep.
That is just one of the best action platformers that has ever been done. It is such a good game. And the music is, the music hands down is one of the best on that Rare's done. Like I never actually owned the cartridge itself. I always used to hire it out from the video store when I was a kid, and I had it on Game Boy Advance, which was probably the lesser remake. Really, it wasn't that good, and had it on the Virtual Console as well. And I owned 3 at home, and the last time I finished 3, I got it down to just under 4 hours with 102% completed.
Wow, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was, all the bonuses, all the DK coins, everything, get the secret ending. And just Donkey Kong Country 2 holds the most amount of memories. So when I played it with my brother, and I remember we hired it out from the game store, we had it for a week, and we got to just before beating K. Rool, and we had to go and return it, had to convince Mum and Dad, can we get it out just for that one more week? And we got it done the next day. So I reckon now that I pretty much know it back to front, I could probably do it in under 4 hours to get it start to finish with 100. I think it's 102 or 103%.
So yeah, that'll be a good one to do, because you could do it. You could almost fit it in at least once a week, and you'll be halfway there in a year. To 100 times completion.
Probably not at the moment, but if I did have the time to do that, I could sort of achieve that.
Yeah, well, just have to quit your job or something. It's pretty important we prove this to Ashley. So
go broke just to complete something for Ashley. That'd be right.
Since you absolutely love that game, were you happy with the Retro Studios interpretation of the series with Returns and Tropical Freeze?
Oh, love those games. Like they did such a good job on Country Returns and Tropical Freeze. Like I actually played Tropical Freeze with my daughter this afternoon, and it looks so good. I mean, the graphic style that they've made in those games is absolutely remarkable, and the music just fits in well with the themes. Like they had the Tikis in Returns, and then they had the Frostmen in Tropical Freeze, and it's just they're hard. I mean, yes, they are hard, but they're very rewarding games.
Yeah, like I was stuck on the very first boss of Tropical Freeze, just like, oh god, like it's just like kicking my head in, and I'm like,
isn't that the Walrus? I think it was.
The Walrus. The Walrus gave me so much trouble. I don't know why. I'm like, it's just a Walrus, man. Just
jump on it a few times, it dies.
Yeah, that's all I need to do. What's wrong with me? But yeah, like once you do beat it, it's like, yes, finally, I can move on with my life.
It has that game. Those games have some of the hardest secret levels to find too. Like some of the paths that you have to go to find those secret levels are very well hidden.
Yeah, I feel like that's an advantage the Donkey Kong franchise has over, say, Mario, where you're used to Mario World, where you get to like the mid castle and you do the same boss again and again. But the Donkey Kong is really unique and has some pretty challenging bosses.
I would argue that sometimes the Donkey Kong series has a much more challenging platformer than all the Mario games, because the Mario games are sort of targeted towards a broader audience with young people and veterans alike, whereas New Donkey Kong is closer to that veteran level than the newcomer, and that's why they had to introduce that funky mode into Tropical Freeze, just to get more people to play it, and it's sold really well on the Switch, so can't really beat them for that.
Yeah, I didn't end up picking it up on Switch, but I'd love to get amongst that funky mode. That would probably be my jam. I think like I'd feel pretty bad for like, oh, do I want to do the easy mode? But it's like, oh, but it's Funky Kong. He's cool. Why not?
You don't see all the other Kongs though. That's the thing. You'd have to switch it back.
Yeah, you're just stuck to the one, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think my pride would come in and be like, no Funky Kong. I don't want that surfboard.
No, I'm the same with like Fire Emblem. Don't turn off permadeath. Don't turn off permadeath.
Exactly. You ruin the experience. You can't do that to yourself.
But then I get to the end, near the end of the level, and there's the boss, and then one of my main characters gets killed, and then I force myself to restart that chapter where I spent like an hour and a half on it. And it's just,
Exactly, it's the mentality of a Fire Emblem player. You refuse to use permadeath, yet you're so willing to just reset the game and start again.
Yeah, that's what turned me off Fates. I got about 2/3 of the way through Birthright, and I just couldn't go any further. Like, I'd actually put it on the harder difficulty because Birthright was supposed to be the easier of the three. And yeah, I couldn't put the time in to, and I'd take 15 minutes to make one move. I was that protective of everyone just to make sure don't die. Otherwise, I have to start again.
Yeah, I'm definitely the guy to be like, yep, permadeath off. I think with the new Fire Emblem, I'm going to play it with it off to start off with. Sorry, Tam, I know you're crying over there.
I am.
But
it's so sad.
But yeah, maybe a second playthrough, or turn it on and get them. Like, I can definitely see the value it adds to the game, but I guess grid based combat sort of isn't my jam anyway, necessarily. So just being able to make it a bit more accessible for me is probably a good thing, I think.
We're very happy to see what they bring at E3 for Fire Emblem, because that's going to be a really exciting game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It looks great.
Yep,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Meta, what about you? What's a game you could play 100 times?
There's a lot. Like,
don't say that. Ashley will come out of the ground. He'll rise out and he'll say a lot.
Make it 200.
Make it 200.
Yeah.
All the games.
5 games, 200.
I feel like if I picked games like Terraria, Minecraft, Stardew Valley, stuff like that, where the whole premise of like you make new worlds a lot, like you make new files a lot, maybe less or so with Stardew, but probably those games. But if we're talking like a full blown,
that's a good loophole. I like that.
Yeah,
take that, you bastard.
Yeah, but if we're talking like full games, like with like storylines and all that jazz, probably Pokemon Black and White 2.
Yes, very nice choice.
I mean, I have 250 or so hours in Black 2 from like when I was 10. It's absolutely mental. I don't even think I could put that many hours into any Pokemon game nowadays, but yeah, probably one of those.
Yeah. Was Black and White your first Pokemon game, was it?
Yeah, it was the first one that I like beat and fully actually played through. The first one that I got was Pearl, but I never really played it, so I don't really count that.
Oh yeah, fair enough. So so a lot of your like memories are associated with Black and White, similar to what probably a lot of these guys associate with Red and Blue and Gold and Silver.
Yeah. A lot of nostalgia.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I forgot the post game in Black and White. Was it good? Is that what would draw you back to it, or do you just enjoy the?
I enjoy
the
story. The story,
yeah.
like especially like the rivalry with N, and like building up to the spoilers for Black and White if you haven't played it, but like the whole like right at the end, Getsus goes all like he snaps and reveals to N that he was being manipulated and all that. It's a lot darker than most Pokemon games in terms of like that relationship. But the post game's okay. Like there's the other side of the map, and obviously there's all the previous gen Pokemon to get, and there's finding the rest of the sages.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But other than that, there's not a lot.
Yeah,
but no, it's
just
probably
like more
the story,
wasn't it?
Yeah. More lore, stuff like that. The Marvelous Bridge Ghost Girl, that was another thing.
God.
The freaking strange house in Lentimus Town in Black and White 2. That creeped me out as a child.
Yeah.
But yeah, I reckon it's more the story and everything, the lore, that I really enjoy out of those games.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the value of those that set of Pokemon games is really in the fact that it got a true sequel.
Yeah.
Because and I've said it before, but the Team Plasma split between Team Plasma and Neoplasma It's probably one of my favourite things about that entire game.
Yeah, definitely.
And the Pokemon World Championship was great too. Being able to verse off against old trainers that you played in other games, I thought that was wicked.
Yeah, that was probably one of the better things to do in the post game of Black and White 2. I remember doing that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Colress from those games, probably one of the bosses of the Plasma team, had a really interesting developing storyline through both of those games, and he's turned out to be probably one of the best characters that the Game Freak have made.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
And
because it became fairly reoccurring, and yeah.
I also really enjoyed the Pokemon Generations episodes that Gen 5 got. Those were so amazing.
Yeah.
Can we just get Pokemon Generations Season 2, please?
I want an anime.
That would be
that.
so...
Holy crap! Is this alluding to an actual really cool looking TV show? But
I'd personally like an anime based solely around like Looker in the International Police. That'd be so cool. But...
Yeah, actually, that'd be But like, I guess the Looker story is really sort of overblown now because like in every post game since they're like it's a Looker story.
Oh yeah, Looker's one of the like most reoccurring characters that Pokemon has at their disposal. So I guess it's really easy for them to just be like, oh yeah, Looker, post game. Yeah, you need a post game. Yeah, Looker.
They had them in Gen 6 and X and Y, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Ruby and Sapphire remakes, he just like washes up. It's like, oh god damn it, of course, why is he here?
Yeah. I think there was a bit of lore behind that. In Red and Blue and Fire and Leaf Green, because like those happen at around the same time as Ruby and Sapphire. One of the people on the SSN ship is from the International Police, and that's apparently Looker. And when the SSN crashed, I guess that's where Looker ended up.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The meta lore of Pokemon.
Yeah.
We'll have to get you on for an episode on conspiracy theories. There you go.
Absolutely.
Dun dun. All right. So that just leaves me. I think this is probably one I've done the most of. It'd probably be like Pokemon Emerald. I'm going to do another Pokemon game, but it's a different generation.
Pokemon cast.
Yeah, the Pokemon cast.
3 Pokemon games in one.
The House of Pikachu.
It's a shame Game Freak has not made a good game since Pocket Card Jockey, but we can talk about Pokemon.
You know what? You can make that argument too because we complained about the 3DS Pokemon games. So
yeah,
you could do that. But Generation 3 for me is just a really really important game as far as the games or what made me care about games. And like as a kid, I played it again and again and again and again. I probably played I don't know 20 times at a random guess. And every time it's something different. You can change your teams and everything. And I've even found myself recently being like, oh, I want to go back and play it, but there's so many other games like on Switch and everything I should be playing. New games that I've never played before. So going back to a game that I've played God knows how many times seems like a bit silly and a waste of time. But I'm always feel drawn back to it. It's one of those games where once a year I'm like, yeah, I should play through it and do it again and sort of try a different team and sort of, I guess, get that nostalgic kick of my favorite Pokemon game. So, yeah,
one of the biggest like replay value factors with Pokemon is, you know, changing up your Pokemon team. Like, you could use Pokemon that aren't very good stat-wise and, like, make the game a lot tougher for yourself. Or you could use, like, your pseudo-legendaries and stuff, and your starters and, you know, all that stuff, and, you know, have a generally easy time with it.
Yeah, you can mix it up a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Did you finish the Pokedex and get one of the Johto starters?
I did, yeah. My 2 other friends and that, we all made sure we helped each other with the Pokedex. We worked together, and we finished the Pokedex at like the same time, and we all went and got our Johto starters at the same time. And straight away after, we went and made eggs and like traded with each other. So we all got all like 3 Johto starters straight away. Yeah. That was a really good memory. Like really working together to get that Pokedex finished.
Well, when I got Emerald, I got the strategy guide with it, and there's nothing in the strategy guide that says that. And obviously, I didn't use the internet that much when I was younger, like to look up that type of stuff. And I was just completely unaware about it. and I finished the Pokédex and got it, and I was like,
oh, sweet.
Yeah. I
yeah.
was quite shocked because I thought the strategy guide would say, would have it in there, but it didn't. So it was pretty
That's a
good
lot
shot.
cooler, man. That's way cooler than I'm going to get the Johto starter. I'm going to finish the Pokédex. It's like a real nice surprise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I had the strategy guide, but I don't. Maybe it didn't say. I just mainly had it for the Pokédex at the end, where you can read everyone's stats and the moves they learn.
Yeah, that's exactly why I had it.
Yeah, because I played Ruby and Sapphire, so I basically knew the route throughout the game and what the Elite Four might have and that. So there wasn't too much of having to use it for that. But yeah, the Pokédex at the end. I think I got all of the Pokédex books back then. I got one from Diamond and Pearl, which is really thick because it goes really in depth for every single Pokemon. And at the time, there was 400 and something. So imagine it now, it'd be like a Bible for 900 and something. If it's going to be in the next games.
Praise Lord Helix.
Yeah, praise Lord Helix.
Yeah. I actually completed an entire Gen 1 through 7 living decks.
Very nice.
Within the year. I've got it all on my Ultra Sun file right now. And I'm itching to get back into putting more Pokemon into it. So I've actually set myself an even bigger challenge with I'm getting all the gender variants and alternate forms and stuff.
Okay, that's awesome, yeah.
So there's that, and I'm also gonna have Sword and Shield when that comes out. That's gonna be a blast. I'm gonna love that.
I did the same, but all of mine are on my Pokebank.
Yeah.
And I think that there was a bit there where I'm I haven't checked my Pokebank in a long time. I know it's expired, my payment has lapsed, and I think I woke up 12 o'clock, it just snapped at 12 o'clock at night. I'm like, oh my god, my living dex is deleted. So I get out my 3DS. I'm like, oh god, it's flat. So I'm charging it. I'm just shaking at the power point, turn on, come on. And I've got getting my credit card ready. I'm like, come on. I'm turn it on. It's oh, your payment is expired. I'm like, oh god. Go and check it. It's still there. Okay, relax.
That's why I don't trust the Pokebank. I keep it on the cartridge, and that's it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if I was if I knew future Drew wouldn't be so unorganised, maybe I would have put it on the cart too, but it's just easy to sort of transfer it around in that. Alright guys, that I think wraps it up. Is there anything else you'd like to sort of end on with, I guess, comments about the show or stuff about, the topic of games that we'd like to play 100 times in a row?
Keep doing what you're doing, guys, because you're doing good.
Thanks, thank you.
Exactly. Thanks for the wild ride, guys, over the last 2 years.
Good. I just want to say thanks for having us. It's been heaps of fun, and like I said before, the Discord community is great here. Good bunch of blokes and girls who just want to, talk Nintendo, and there's always someone on there talking about something. So if you want to ask a few questions, there's always someone to answer a question for you. So it's great, and thanks for just put on a great show for us each and every week, and I enjoy listening to it when I'm at work. But it's good. Thanks, boys.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for coming on, guys. It means a lot that you're in the Discord and listening to the show, and through doing this show, we've become friends with you guys, and I think that's one of the most priceless things we can ask from doing this type of thing. We talk into a microphone just for a bit of fun to sort of catch up with one another, but it's allowed us to make friendships with you guys who are huge Nintendo fans as well, and through that shared passion, we've made some new friendships, and hopefully it will be, for many more years to come. So, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and on to the rest of the show.
Tonight on Eric's Wacky Game Show, starring Eric Such. Today's guests are Drew and Bryce from the House of Mario. What questions will they be asked? Will their asses be torched under a pillar of flame? Find out tonight on Eric's Wacky Game Show!
Hello and welcome to Eric's Wacky Waving Inflatable Arm Flailing 2-man game show. Today, I have with me Bryce and Drew, who are here to compete in the games. And the winner of today's episode will take away absolutely nothing, but the loser will take away even less.
Yeah. Take that, Bryce. It's going to be you, mate.
No, it's going to be you. No, you're wrong.
We're going to get all competitive about how well we know each other.
Yeah, okay.
So I figured we could start the game show off today, guys, with maybe the 20 question segment to see if you can guess the game. How does that sound?
All right. That sounds good.
Cool. All right, yeah. I'm ready.
You don't have to write this down, though, Bryce.
Mm-hmm. That's all right. I'm just getting my stuff ready. All right?
All right. Am I ready? That's the question, because I should have opened a wiki page for the game in case.
In case you don't have all the knowledge in your head.
I definitely won't have all the knowledge in my head. I know that much. All right, boys. What have you got for me? First question.
Was it released after it's 2000s?
After the year 2000?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm really bad with like dates and stuff here, but I'm going to go yes. Yes, it was released after the year 2000.
All right, cool.
All right.
Last 2 decades. Wonderful.
Last 2 decades. Jesus. Yeah, you really picked a good question there, Drew. All right.
Thanks, man.
Was it released on a console that supports HDMI?
Oh, that's a good question. No, it was not.
All
not that I know of, anyway.
Cool.
Not Wii U. So what are we working with? We're working with Nintendo 64 and GameCube and Wii.
Yes, that is correct.
And all the handhelds.
And all the handhelds. So that's probably the best question.
Yeah. Was it released on a Nintendo handheld?
No, it was not.
All right, we're looking at consoles here, Bryce.
Okay. So 64, GameCube, and Wii.
So we may as well just narrow it down to post 2010.
You would know if it came out after 2010.
No. Then it will only be like late Wii games, won't it? 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll ask if it was a GameCube. Was it released on Nintendo GameCube?
Yes.
All right, we're looking at a GameCube game, Bryce.
All right.
Is this a first-party Nintendo game?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Nintendo podcast, first-party Nintendo game. There you go.
Is it multiplayer centric?
Like this,
does it have?
You got to get
multiplayer centric.
No, it is not multiplayer centric.
So there weren't too many first-party GameCube games, really, in the scheme of things.
Yeah, no, not really. Not any that aren't multiplayer centric, anyway.
Now, boys,
get a bit close to the microphone.
I've got to be honest here. There's a game that you play when you're playing 20 questions, and it's called Count the Questions that you've had so far. And I lost count.
I think it's about 6 or 7. At this point.
Just reset
it. So we'll go. Okay, we'll go with the worst and go with 7. All right, make it harder for us. All right. So what do we know at this point? It's GameCube.
It's GameCube. It's first party Nintendo.
First party Nintendo.
And it's not multiplayer.
And it's not multiplayer.
So you got Mario Sunshine, you got the Zelda, you got a lot of games. It's not Mario Party. It's not one of the 100 that came out in GameCube. So there is that.
Okay.
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 Is this a Mario game?
Yes.
It's probably a bloody 1,000-year-old door, knowing Eric. Let's look at his expression. See what he does. He hasn't done anything. He's playing.
No judging.
We're getting no response from his expression, so it's probably not the 1,000-year door.
Stone face Eric, they call me.
Is this an RPG?
Is this an RPG? Can I answer with maybe? No, yeah, yes, it is.
Right,
so it's a Mario game.
It very well could be the 1,000-year
door. And it's an RPG. So what Mario games are an RPG, but might not be 1,000-year-old door.
Might not be. Is it turn-based?
Yes.
I think we're nailing it. I think we're getting it.
Does this game involve doors in the title?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, it's got to be the 1,000-year door.
You know what, guys? You know what? That was too easy. That was way too easzy.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Now,
oh dear.
Do you? Yeah, you guessed it. So it was the 1,000-year door.
Yeah.
That is just ridiculous. I definitely should have gone with something harder, but I just didn't have trust in you guys, and I should have.
Oh yeah. Well,
not many people do. Yeah.
No, it's the same thing. It's the same thing because we played a similar game with Luke a while back, and it was GoldenEye 007 remake for the Wii, and I guessed it in 6.
Oh, I did.
Okay. That's a tricky one because it's a remake.
It was a tricky one, but I guessed it in 6.
All right,
because I'm a big brain over here.
I was gotta say, guys, don't talk yourself up here.
Oh shit! All right, Mr. Game Master.
Yeah, I'm not calling myself Mr. Big Brain. Look at him. Look at this intellectual calling his brain big.
Oh, Captain Big Brain over there.
I got a big brain. All right.
You got a big something. Oh, that came out wrong.
Well, I think that's just about time to move on. Now, we do have another segment to go on to here. Did you want to do another 20 questions, or you want to hit through these other questions first and see how we go?
I reckon this next one sounds fun. I'm keen to play this one.
So part 2 of Eric's wacky waving inflatable arms inflating tube band is that I'm going to ask you guys a question. Now, it's directed at both of you, so you're both going to write down your answer to that question, and then you have to guess what the other person answered. The idea of this is that you guys have done 100 of these episodes together. You've been friends since forever. I feel like you guys should just know everything about each other. So I expect
we probably should.
Probably should.
I expect you guys to get all of these correct, but we'll see how we go. So if you're ready, we'll jump into the first question.
That sounds good.
All right. So the first question is, what is the best mobile game?
Jesus shit.
So I'll give you a second to both write down your answers of what you think the best mobile game is, and then when you're done, I'll get Drew. You can go first, and you can guess what what he thinks the best mobile game is.
Well, Bryce he's quite into the mobile games, and he likes talking about Dragalia Lost. He plays it a lot. He was playing it just before we did this little segment. He was playing his bloody anime music way too loud.
Oh, it's ridiculous. And I come on here and all I can hear is just like I don't know how it goes, but
yeah. So yeah, that's my guess. That's
you'd be correct on that one.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie. I have 2 Dragalia Lost accounts and I play them daily.
Yep.
All right, well that's 1 point.
2.
You got 2 accounts. Yeah, so put a tick there, Bryce. So then we can tally it up at the end. I reckon. All right. What do you reckon I put, Bryce?
I'm going to say Pokemon Quest.
Oh, he got it, ladies and gentlemen.
Man, he's gone.
I didn't even play it on mobile, but
no, you don't play it on mobile, but it is a mobile release game.
Yeah,
you play it on Switch.
I know,
and it's the only mobile game that is actually available on mobile that you actually are addicted to. Well, you were addicted to.
Yeah, I was addicted to it.
Yeah,
I had the shakes for like months afterwards. So.
Well, I gotta say that is really impressive. You guys both got the first question down. They're going to get harder as we go through these, so we'll see how we go.
All right.
So the second one here. What is the worst game on Switch? The worst game on the Nintendo Switch. This is a bit of a tough one because it might require you to have a little bit of a think of like, you know, there's a pretty big library of games there, but what's the worst one in your, whether you've played it or not, just what is the worst one in your opinion?
I have a feeling we might have the same answer for this one, but we'll see.
I'm trying to think what even mine is.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I think if I had told him what my answer was, he would probably pick it right off the bat.
Okay.
I actually got no idea. I can't even think of my own, let alone Bryce's.
Here's the thing.
Do you need to grab your Switch to check?
Oh, no, I don't.
Because you will pick it out very, very fast. I can guarantee it. And if you write down something else and I tell you my answer, you are going to
just go
throw a tit because I know you hate this. I know you don't like this game.
Throw a tit. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
I wouldn't dare do that. I wouldn't dare throw a tit.
Please keep your tits down, Drew. And
worst Switch game? I can only think of the good ones.
That's the problem. You see, we all spend so much time thinking about all the good games on Switch. Not enough time thinking about the bad ones. There are some bad ones out there.
Oh, there's some shocking ones. I don't know if I've bought them though.
He'll change his answer. He'll change his answer once he hears this one. Trust me.
I might just leave it because I can't think of any.
Are you going to blank this one?
Yeah, I'm going to blank it.
All right.
So you just get a point for it. So
all right,
we'll just make it.
Right. 1 point
it's
to
Brawl Out.
Brawl Out. Yeah. So I guess that's a bad game. Yeah.
But it's definitely the worst game you've downloaded and played on Switch.
It's the one where we're like, nah, this isn't fun.
Yeah, it literally is not fun.
Yeah.
It is not. It was a Smash Bros. Clone that was absolutely ridiculous and made no sense.
Yeah.
And it's not very good.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, because we're playing that, because we had like the real want for Smash. We're like, oh, this is a Smash Bros. Like game. We're playing that. It's like, I don't know.
Didn't work out.
Yeah.
We're trying to unlock the characters and it was like loot boxes and stuff. Like, this isn't. Nah.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon that's solid.
Yeah, it's a solid choice. Better than mine. I didn't pick anything. So.
But the good news is, like, this next one here is going to be a lot easier for you to pick because it's not such a wide range of stuff to pick from. What is the best Joy-Con color?
Ooh.
It's the best Joy-Con. Now, there's not actually that many colors if we talk about just the mainline ones they release. So I do wonder what your favorite or what you think the best Joy-Con color is.
So this is going to be obvious for me because I wear mine. I don't know if Bryce necessarily wears his on his Switch or has his on his Switch. I'm going to guess for Bryce though the Splatoon colors.
Actually, I'm pretty partial to the standard greys.
Yeah, I was going to say grey or
surprisingly, like a lot of people are into the like the neon and all that stuff and all them switching up and all that stuff. But to be honest, I'm inclined to stick with the color scheme of the console. It's just me. I don't know what it is. So
yeah,
standard greys.
Yeah, I feel like I don't. Oh, what do you think for me before I go?
I think yours is the red.
Yeah, mine's the red.
His is the red.
Mine's the neon red, which come with the neon set. But like with the greys for me, I just like I like the look of black, but I don't like the greys on the side because it's like a bit different color to the actual Switch itself.
I get that, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I do get that, and I do wish there were black Joy-Cons, yes, but I think it's close enough to the color scheme that I'm kind of just like
because
it fits for me.
I remember in the initial like teaser trailer when they showed off the Switch for the very first time, and I remember it looking so sleek and nice. But as soon as they revealed that there's neon Joy-Cons, I'm like, oh. Greys can go in the bin.
Yeah.
I feel like this has been cool. We've been without colour for so long. As soon as they kind of added colour to the system, I'm like, yes, colour.
yeah, that's it. True.
All right. So the next question.
I'm not saying I hate them, mind you. I think they're good. I'm partial to colour matching.
All right. So I'm just gonna put a note next to this question. Bryce hates colour. All right. Next question. What is the one amiibo, the single one amiibo worth owning?
Ooh, on a personal level, or
so like this is a personal opinion. What is the one amiibo that is just worth owning for you on a personal level? What do you think is the one amiibo?
Alrighty,
that was quick.
This one for Drew is really hard for me because it could only be two in my eyes, but I could be completely wrong. My guesses are either Detective Pikachu or his Pit amiibo.
Okay, so which one?
I'm going to say Detective Pikachu just because it's special.
You got it right.
Sweet. Bang. All right.
For you, I'm going to say Wolf Link.
No.
Oh.
No. My Zero Suit Samus one was my first one I bought and I love it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not the best looking amiibo, but it was the first one that I invested in.
Yeah.
Boys, I'm upset.
It's the one that it's the one that I always make sure I keep track of because my daughter grabs it all the time. I do love the Wolf Link amiibo. I do love it very much, but yeah.
Oh, no, I'm going
I have an attachment to my first one. I don't know what it is.
I don't know you at all.
we don't talk about amiibo often.
Well, the more this game goes on, I'm like, by the end of the 20 questions, I'm going to be like, who are you? I'm going to like have dementia and like forget who he is.
Okay, so I'm upset that no one mentioned the squishy Metro amiibo, and also they're getting harder here, boys. So the next questions that are coming up, that I have a feeling this is really going to test you. Like right now, we're at episode 100 here, but I think you might need to get to 500 before you can answer these.
All right, okay.
All right, so the next one here, what is the best waifu? Is it waifu? Waifu? I don't know how to say it.
Waifu.
Waifu. In the Nintendo spectrum.
Oh shit.
Waifus.
The best waifus. There's a lot of waifus. Like honestly, like what is the first one that you would jump to? Don't answer that, by the way, because you give it away from each other. But like, is it like
just
Fire
jump
Emblem?
to the waifu?
Is it like jump to Fire Emblem? Here's these characters. They have children. They're going to put out. So I don't know.
Yeah. You got to think about those children when you're picking a partner.
Exactly. You got to think about the future here. Like who's gonna provide? Who can take care of themselves?
I've got one. I'll put that down.
Is Kirby a male or female?
Whatever you want it to be.
Okay.
Kirby is definitely male.
Yeah.
No question. All right.
What do we got, boys?
All right, you guess me first.
This is really hard, but I'm going to say Peach.
Peach?
No. Shit.
No. Mine was May from Pokemon.
May? Okay.
Yeah,
Jesus, going into children territory. Here we go.
Yeah, well,
whoa.
It's not so much now, but when I was a kid watching Pokemon Advance,
I suppose
on TV, I remember having like a slight crush for May.
Here's the thing in my head. I didn't really consider Pokemon. I won't lie. I didn't really consider Pokemon at all.
Like I'm not like now. Like, oh yeah.
I would want to bang a 10. Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, May's grown up.
Yeah,
So May's
I'm
grown
not
up with
quite.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that, but I never like in my head. I didn't. Yeah, Pokemon didn't pop to mind. So yeah,
don't really know for you. There'll be someone. I'm thinking more the Fire Emblem range, sort of that type of thing. I'm not thinking Mario. I'm not thinking Zelda. I don't think you'd go for Zelda. You know, she's a bit too proper for you. I think you don't want that commitment. Well, not that commitment. You know what I mean?
What are you saying?
I don't know what I'm saying. So who is someone from? It'd be someone in Awakening. I reckon you'd be like, oh yeah, delicious.
I jumped to Fire Emblem when I thought about it.
It's been that long since I played Fire Emblem Awakening now, so I can barely even name anyone. Dragalia Lost, wouldn't know anyone. Don't know anyone in that. Who's a waifu Bryce would like? Who has pretty eyes? Who would Bryce would like? Oh yeah, I want to lick those eyeballs.
Well, I didn't want to say anything, but Drew.
It's like, is it me?
It's a little bit particular, but it's a little bit okay. I'll give you a small hint. It's a little bit particular, but I will take the general answer as an average.
Okay.
I can feel, like, you know that meme where like there's math signs that's flying up in front of that.
Yeah. Right with the weird looks. Yeah.
Lucina from Fire Emblem?
No.
Oh.
Being particular, it's probably Twilight Princess Zelda.
Oh, it was Zelda. I was completely wrong.
Good reasoning for it. She's the most confident and badass Zelda out of the lot, in my opinion.
It's true.
Yeah.
She's not very damsel in distress. She fights for a kingdom up until the point where she can't anymore. Yeah, I think Twilight Princess Zelda is pretty damn good.
Yep. Oh well, I was completely wrong. Sorry, Bryce. Yeah.
All right. It gets. I'm not sure about this next one, guys, because I don't know. You see. But what's the best manfu? Now, I don't know what the equivalent of man in waifu is, but we're talking the male version of this. The best manfu in the Nintendo Spectrum.
And this is where it gets saucy.
This one should be easier. There's a lot of candidates out there. A lot of them take the main spectrum.
I think I pretty much got his on lock, but I could be wrong.
All right.
Still see.
So for you, I think it might be Breath of the Wild Link.
Actually, I'd probably go with Chrom.
Yeah. Well, Chrom is pretty dreamy.
Yeah. I just after playing Awakening, I think he's a pretty strong character in general.
You just look up to him. It's like, oh, he's such a nice man.
Well,
such a nice man.
What a lovely.
The thing is like the thing I love about Fire Emblem Awakening is that Chrom is such a strong character that doesn't really lose hope, and he just keeps going.
Yeah,
and that's something that carries over into Dragalia Lost with Dragalia Lost's main character as well. He's kind of the same way.
Yeah,
really like that character. I hate the despair of like, I can't do this anymore. How am I supposed to get through this? No, there's always a reason to keep pushing.
Yeah,
and I like that. That's what was good about Chrom. But I'm going to say yours is Pit.
No,
damn it!
I put Ike as mine.
Shit. Well, there you go. Look, there you go.
Yeah, the Fire Emblem boys. Oh, yummy.
I guess the May thing threw me off.
All right,
I guess
threw you off. Yeah.
It's exactly what I expected. Fire Emblem boys all the way. Now, I have two more here. The next one is what's the best House of Mario episode?
Oh
shit.
Bryce is like, all of them I was on.
So many episodes of the House of Mario.
I know,
and I couldn't.
This makes it really hard. Juicy.
I could not tell you the number.
Oh, I know. Well, don't have to put the number, just put the
theme or whatever.
What it was.
Describe what we're talking about.
A 100 episodes. I don't know how you can nail it down to one.
No, it's so hard.
If you're talking about the worst, that's easy.
Yeah. Well, the worst was anyone that Bryce wasn't on, wasn't
it? God damn it.
Be one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, that'll do.
All right, guess mine first. Do it. Come on, Brian. Come on, mate. You can do it. You can do it, mate. This is one that stuck out in my head for a long time. It's not. I'll give you a hint. It's not a recent one, just because the recent ones are in our head. So I thought I'll think, a bit further back.
Is it the one with the fanfic?
No.
Damn it. All right.
It's the one where we had Dash and Buddy on the Dash Culture crossover.
Cool. All right.
That was one that stuck out in my head just for the fact that we did like the rap and everything at the start.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
And it was something where it's just, I remember like sending the episode to Dash and like, yeah, I'll give it a listen.
Yeah.
I'm just like sort of sitting there waiting for like a reply, and he sent back like, yeah, like the two of them just loved it, especially after like, and then the episode itself, which just had such good chemistry in that, and that's like a part of what I guess the extra step to becoming really good friends with those guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So for you, I don't know. Your reaction to that sounds like you just like, oh yeah, I remember that episode. So maybe not that one. Was it the Smash Brothers review discussion?
No, it was the fanfic episode.
It was the fanfic
because it was it was the episode we laughed the most in post production. I think.
Yeah, we were in tears.
Yeah, we were in tears. We were in literal tears. It was funny. It was funny as shit.
So just for context, that's the Wario fanfic we read out.
A lot of people don't understand our humor to that degree and why that would be funny, but to us, it was just toilet humor, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
And it was, yeah.
I think it I remember having Paul James on with like a few other guys, and I was like, I'll do another fanfic, and I think like those guys were like horrified.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
it's funny.
I forget everyone doesn't have our awful sense of humor.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that does remind me of one of the fanfic episodes you did, and I had it on by Nat. Like I normally listen to headphones on, but from once I just like had it playing on in the background, and like Nat comes home and she's like, "What is this? What are you listening to?" I'm like, "It's not what it sounds like."
It's House of Mario. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
What was one of the lines, like stenchy butt fart or something?
What?
There was something like there's like some awful line. Like every sentence was like he peppered it with his stenchy butt farts or something.
Yeah, some shit like that. Something along the lines of that. Anyway.
Oh dear.
All right, last question here. This one's a bit heartwarming. What is the best thing about my co-host, or the best thing about my co-host is?
This is a hard one. There's a lot out there. There's a lot out there, Eric.
I think you're going to say it's a hard one because it's just not out there.
I was going to say that, but that's just a blatant lie.
No.
We don't lie here, do we, Bryce? No. The best thing about my co-host.
The fun part is when you actually got to guess each other. Then you got to start talking yourself up. What does he think the best thing about me is?
Just my stunning good looks on the audio podcast. Have you got yours down? Yep.
I have mine, so you can guess first.
Okay, so I got to guess what you like about me. This is weird.
Yeah. Go for it.
I think what you love about me, Bryce, is that I edit the show. I don't know.
You don't have an answer? Okay.
That was my answer. You're like, oh yeah, that's...
Nah, you laugh because you've got a fucking contagious laugh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that sweet?
It is sweet. Yeah.
This is what I'm here for.
Yeah. No,
what's my laugh?
Just no, your genuine laugh is hilarious. And like when you run out of breath because of a laugh, that's even fucking funnier. I'm just watching you like silent laughing. You're like throwing yourself back. You're like, yeah.
I like that visual description.
Yeah. Couldn't see it on the podcast, but you know.
If you close your eyes real hard, you can see.
Just imagine a man with his like chest consistently pulsating from trying to laugh, but nothing coming out. There you go. You've got it.
All right. What do you think I love about you, Bryce? Apart from your ability to do 10 backflips simultaneously, I do like that. But
I know how you feel with this one now because this is hard.
It's a bit weird, isn't it? It's like, oh yeah.
The interests we share.
No.
No? What is it then?
Basically, as far as like the podcast go, like your ability to just be able to talk and keep conversations going.
Nice.
Be a good voice for people to listen to. I feel like even when I listen back to the show, like I listen to you talk, I'm like, yeah, he's good at this. It's good.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Cool. That was my second guess.
Of course it was.
All right, boys. How do we go? Do we go tally up those scores and figure out who is the best friend here and who is the hopeless one?
Okay. All right. I think I'm definitely the hopeless one. Bryce, you got a 4 right.
Yeah, Drew got 2.
Oh. Sorry, I'm sorry, Bob. Like I thought I knew you. Oh, what? Sorry. What does that name tag say? Bruce, Biff,
Boff,
Boff. Yeah, well, that's a good episode, Boff.
Wait, who's Boff?
Jesus. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Game Show host Eric.
It's been my pleasure to host the wacky waving inflatable arms. I'm not going to do it again. It's been fun.
It's one of the reasons I wanted to get you on, Eric, is through doing this podcast. This is how we sort of met you. I feel like it's like the best use of Facebook I've ever had. Basically, I think I posted in Nintendo voice chat and you commented. I'm like, oh, someone commented on our podcast, which is like real early on, and that's when like every little, well, not that every little comment doesn't matter now because it certainly does, but back then where it's like you're really looking for sort of a bit of feedback, and you commented, and I'm like, oh, awesome. And I noticed you posted that you did a podcast, and I listened to your podcast, and then I found out through another group, which we're also in, which is a more Adelaide-based group. It's, he's local. He's South Australian like us. And that's sort of how, we become friends, and it's gone on from there through our shared interests of Nintendo and podcasting.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah. It really is kind of crazy when you think about it, because it really doesn't feel like there's a lot of, first of all, Nintendo podcasts around. Second of all, like there is a few of them, but like they're all based elsewhere in the world. And considering that like we both live in this same little state in South Australia, both started up a Nintendo podcast at a similar time, and we're just posting it and trying to find like people and friends and everything around the world at the same time, and we managed to bump into each other. And like the beautiful thing is that like I think that we're just like all of us three here and a bunch of the other guys that we've now met through this, we're just a bunch of similar guys with the same interests who really get along, and it just, we get to come together every week and put this together, and I've just made these beautiful friendships out of it. So like, this to me is just a fantastic thing, because I get to know you guys. I'm not choking up, I'm just running out of breath, but
oh, so beautiful.
Well, you've certainly brought a tear to my eye anyway.
But yeah,
I agree, Biff.
I got to say, guys, like, well done. Like, seriously, 100 episodes, something that I certainly couldn't do. This is just amazing that you've done 100 episodes now, and like, I've enjoyed going on this journey with you guys. You guys have done so well to get here, and I can't wait to see where you take this.
Oh, thank you very much, Eric.
Yeah, thank you very much, Eric. Yeah,
you are one of our best friends in the business, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
And congratulations on the success you found on YouTube since ending up your podcast and looking at more video orientated content.
Yeah, I found really good success there, and I can't wait to actually one day get back into the podcasting world. I think you guys need a little bit of competition here. There's not enough competition.
Oh yeah.
It's all right. You can jump on ours every now and then we won't have competition. We can just be a unity.
That's all right. Yeah.
We need to start the Avengers of Nintendo podcasting.
Yes, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh god.
All right, Eric, thank you very much for coming on. And guys, if you want to check out Eric's channel or his Patreon or anything that he does, the links will be in the show notes below.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric.
All right, Bryce, that almost brings us to the end of episode 100. It's been a bit of a ride so far, eh?
Yeah, it certainly has. We're now on the road to 200, starting fresh again.
Yeah, starting fresh again. I just got a couple more questions we have to go through before we do wrap up the show.
Yep.
So first off, there's a question from our good friend Paul James. He asked, what was your second favourite moment of the show? Second after that fan fiction reading, of course. Now, this is something that's come up like multiple times throughout the show, which is it's obviously memorable for people. For some reason, it's memorable in the right way. Some people, it's memorable in the definitely not the right way. But It's obviously very memorable to Paul because he brings it up.
Yeah,
quite
that's
a
it.
lot. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he was on one, so guess it makes sense.
Yeah. So, what do you reckon your second favourite moment was?
If I had to pick one, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. I'm not sure. Do you have one?
I don't know. Mine seems to be like the last week's skit every week. Like you sort of like go look at the last week's skit. You're like, oh, that was funny.
Yeah, actually, yeah. That makes enough sense. I think doing the skits every week has just sort of like become so ingrained in our own thing that we find them funny just to listen back to.
Yeah, I know sometimes like if we don't have enough time, whatever, and the episode didn't get a skit and it just opens with the opening music, it feels naked. It feels a bit weird.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
not to have it.
I definitely agree. Yeah.
Yeah. And the next question is from Combro. Sorry, it's not Combro. It's Delfino Durans. He asked, what game had no right to be as good or was way better than everyone expected it to be?
Also hard. What game had no right to be as good as it was?
I reckon Pokemon Let's Go's that game that fits into that category for me.
You reckon?
Yeah, like I knew I'd really enjoy it, obviously going back to Kanto, but it's I didn't expect it to absolutely fall in love with it like I did. Just with like the different battle mechanics and all of that, like the catching mechanics and everything.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of have to agree with that, but I have to go with Pokemon remakes.
Oh right. Yep.
Like you would think that just in the generalistics of things that they would be, you know, not much different to the original experience, but they usually end up just making the experience so much better in some way. If that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's probably the best thing I could say. Like I'd still shell out full price for a remake.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like especially in Heart Gold Soul Silver, that's really worth the money.
It's the best example.
Yeah. And Delfino also asks, what is one game you have never been able to complete? Why? For me, this is probably a fair few. Just maybe not that I can't beat it. Just I didn't.
I was going to say, a Nintendo game or.
Well, I assume so. But if there's one that comes to mind, which is a different platform or something, you can bring that up too. If there's one that really strikes you.
I've never 100% beaten Majora's Mask, and I say 100% because I've beaten it, but I've never 100%ed it. Which is an integral part of the experience because of all the side questing, I guess.
Yeah, to get all the story and everything.
Yeah.
I never tried to 100% it, but yeah. I don't know what it would be for me. Like, I've never had a game where I was like, I can't beat it. It's just like, oh, it's not interesting me, or like whatever it might be. Yeah.
Surely there's something in the back of your mind.
Probably
Sunshine.
Yeah, well, I guess there's Sunshine, but that was the case of just like, you know, putting it down, not picking it up again, and that was also because it's on older hardware, and it's a bit blurrier, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
using it on my like on my TV, it's like, oh, it's a bit. I guess I haven't gone back to Galaxy in years. I guess Galaxy will be the same situation going back. It won't be quite as bad, but it'll be like that. Yeah, just jumping back from HD to 480.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it certainly makes a bit of a difference.
Yeah. Anyway, Bryce, that wraps up the questions. But since we started this episode, you have actually gotten your dog.
I have,
and it's got the name. So how's the dog going?
The dog is going good. He's very attached to me. His name is Dutch.
Dutch. So he got a name then, unlike your son who didn't get a name for a bit longer.
He's a very sleepy boy. He knows very simple commands, which is great. Toilet training's still happening, but yeah, it's only been like 24 hours, so we'll get there.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the dogs tomorrow. So
nice.
Hopefully, I'll get to pick up a puppy too. So we can be those housewives walking around in their tight leggings.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. So, Bryce, after going over all these episodes together and that, I'd like to take the time to thank a few of our friends and that who have supported us along the way, whether it was just being a part of the community or, actually coming on the show or whatever it might be. But I'd just like to take the time to thank some of these people. And I will say, if I missed you and you should be on this list, I am so sorry.
Yeah, that's it.
We did throw this list together just now. I hope we got everyone.
Yeah, because we're trying to squeeze in everything before release tomorrow.
Yeah,
and we've been working on this episode for over 24 hours, pretty much.
Yes, it's a big edit.
It's a really big edit. Not just that, but it was also organising everybody to come on and But I mean,
it's good fun. I hope it turns out well.
It's worked out in the end. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a bit of fourth wall for everyone that listens to the episode, and it's like talking about this at the end. Yeah. But I like to thank all the guests that came on over the last 2 years. I know, it's a big thing, sort of setting time aside to, especially for people that don't know you, they don't know what they're coming on. We could be a bunch of crazy people, which I guess we could be, but
yeah, exactly, yeah. And I mean, we've had people from over in the United States and Europe and everything. When you consider that, yeah.
I'd like to thank Simon Blackburn for being a good friend of ours and also helping us a great deal with creating the awesome artwork for the podcast. I think that was a big thing mentally for us, just to look at it and be like, oh, it actually looks good now. So
and beautiful it is, yeah.
The audio content can step up along with it, and I think it did for the most part at the start of this year. This year, yeah. Feels like for ages. It feels, in some ways, this 2 years feels like a long time, but at the same time, it doesn't.
Yeah, I understand that 100%.
Yeah,
and I have to agree.
Yeah. I'd like to thank Jono Peck and Brendan White and everyone in the 8-Bit Collective for being our family, pretty much, helping us when we need it, and Brendan allowing us to borrow some of his audio gear for stuff like AvCon and all that stuff, which really helped us out and getting us there in the first place with the tickets and everything. It was a great experience for us to go to our first convention as podcasters, which felt really weird. I don't know how long it will take for us to be walking around with confidence saying we're podcasters at a convention, but
we'll certainly get there.
Yeah.
If we keep doing what we're doing for the next couple of years, I'm sure we'll be right.
Yeah, for sure. And and John O'Peck for all the advice and everything he helped us out with.
Yep.
And he came on the show too. He was a guest. He came on talking about the SNES Mini.
Yes, he did.
Which was fun. Yes. I'd like to thank Dash and Buddy from Dash Culture, real good friends of ours. Some of our best friends online where we talk, pretty regularly. Really enjoy it.
Every
really
second day, pretty much.
I really want to have those guys back on the show, especially after reflecting and looking back at the rap and everything we did.
Yeah,
great to have them on again and just talk shit again.
Well, we're on with something with them next week.
We are.
The E3 wrap up. So
we're on the
that'll
E3
be fun.
Wrap up on the Wednesday.
The Wednesday, that's correct.
So
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, if anyone's listening to this on time, check Dash's Twitter for all the details.
Yep.
I'd like to thank everyone at the Explosion Network: Dylan, Ash, Cherie, Nick, and Kieran. Thank you guys. You guys have been great friends to us, and we love your content, and
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, Dylan's always stepped in when we've needed a hand, whether it's I'm gone or you're gone. So
yeah, absolutely. And those guys, they I know myself. I look at them and go, oh my god, they work so hard. I know there's 5 of them, and they might they share it around and all that, but just the amount of stuff they do and that, it's really inspiring.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely. Yeah,
seeing them, on the same level as us, sort of, really grinding, really wanting it. It's really good to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I was thinking, we've had Dylan on a couple of times. Ash, if you want to come on, or Cherie or anyone, put your hand up and
come on the show.
We'll have you on.
Yeah, for sure.
You got Dylan Blight stealing all the House of Mario seats.
Oh, yeah. He's got 5 of them,
He's got 5 of them. Well, he just puts his feet up.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, I don't know if I want my feet at this angle or at this angle,
Yeah. We got Eric Zuch. Thank you very much, dude. You've been a great friend to us. Obviously, you were just on the show, so...
He was our first friend in podcasting.
Yeah, he was.
He was, absolutely. And, even just talking with Eric has been... it was a real big eye-opener for us that we could be something bigger than what we were, I guess.
It wasn't just that. I think it was that this can be more than just us two, our friendship. It can be friendship with other people.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I mean,
sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a silly Billy.
Yeah, he's a silly Billy. I mean, Tom said it all. Yeah, no, he was really in with it with us, and we talked all the time. And we don't talk as much sometimes anymore. It was very much very active when we were podcasting, and we were always throwing back and forth between each other and doing guests on each other's podcasts and stuff. And he's one of our most valuable friends as well for that reason, sort of thing. Is he really got us motivated to do more? Do you know what I mean? Just watching him do what he wanted to do with the video editing and all that stuff, and now he's full-time YouTube creator. He's he's really putting the grind to the stone. So
yeah, he's chasing the dream. He's making it happen. He's putting everything into it, and
that's it. So if you've never checked out Eric's stuff, please go to his YouTube channel, Nintendo by Numbers, and go see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up is Dane Peavy. Dane, you're an absolute legend. We met you because you were a listener to our show. I think you found us through the Hungry Gamers and the 8-bit sort of side of things.
Yep.
Then you started doing your own content, and if you haven't listened to Dane's podcast, I really recommend it. It's called Pushing Through Blue, and it's all about the awareness of mental health and sort of how you can you better yourself, even if you're not like feeling depressed and all that. I think it's a great podcast to sort of understand how others feel, and like all of that stuff. I think it's just fantastic what he's doing. Like a lot, like we sit here and we talk about video games, but Dane's like really pushing like a serious topic, which affects like so many of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. No, he does a brilliant job over on that podcast, and it's sort of like, for me, Pushing Through Blue, just I've listened to a few episodes, haven't listened to them all. Dane, I'm really sorry. But it really is good for mental health awareness to have something like that out in the sort of podcast sphere, I guess. Because it is something that strikes a lot of people, including content creators, that whether they have followings big or small or stuff like that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd like to thank Paul James. Dude, you're a legend. Since I met you, you've been doing awesome content over at player2.net and now doing your own stuff with Dev Diaries and all that. Really inspiring. And obviously, you're probably one of the ones who's been on the show the most too, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
Always
when I'm not here.
What was that, sorry?
Pretty much always when I'm not here.
Yeah, it's like, Bryce is gone. He's like, yes, I can just talk the Druzel to myself. Yeah.
No, it was lovely hanging out with him at PAX, and he's a very intelligent man, Paul James. So
he is, yeah. Like his Dev Diary podcast is fantastic. Just how sort of the intellect he has to sort of talk with the devs he gets on, and it's really interesting hearing like that bit more intellectual discussion about video games, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Thank you very much to the couple of NPC boys, Alex and Andrew. You guys are... I always love seeing your thumbnails and seeing the amount of energy you put into your podcast and your Twitch streams and all that. And it's just really awesome to see. We sort of met you at PAX. We didn't get to talk as much as I would have liked, but it was cool. Yeah. You got one of our badges, so one of our old badges.
Yeah,
the old logo on
it.
We
need to get new ones now.
Yeah, we do. They look really cool, actually.
Yeah,
they look really awesome. I really want to get some of them.
Yeah, for sure.
We've got Ryan and everyone at the Pop Culturists. Another group that are doing awesome pop culture stuff on YouTube. Ryan's a really nice guy, really intelligent, and really knows what he's doing over there. Well, he seems to anyway. He'll probably tell us that he's got no idea, but you check out their videos and their backdrops and all their stuff is just top notch.
Yeah,
so yeah,
absolutely.
And another person what was great to hang out with at PAX, really get to know and all of that. Yeah. I know he's not a Nintendo fan. He probably won't hear this, but it's alright.
Yep, that's it.
And everyone at Another Castle and Heroes of Play community. That's a community we've been involved with for years, and while we're not active in there for probably the past
over a decade now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess it was back in high school where I was like on another castle like most of the time, and when that forum went down, I sort of fell off of it as well. I think like they're all on Discord and that now, and I haven't really got involved with that. But we ran into like a few of the guys at was it Avcon and PAX and that, and we still like recognise each other, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
And obviously Tam, who was on earlier on the show, that's where we know him from, and yeah, real great. And obviously Luke as well, who was on the show, episode 30 something.
Yeah,
I think yeah. And last but not least, everyone in our Discord community. You guys are so important to this show. Just logging onto Discord, seeing, being involved with Nintendo Talk, seeing what you guys think about the games that are coming out, just being able to talk, but also being able to throw your thoughts of like, oh, what did you think of the show? Was this skit bad? Was it good? Was it okay? Was it like just sort of trying to gauge what's going on with the show? We've already talked about it, so we won't go into that too much.
That's it. Their feedback is invaluable to us, and we could say it all day. I think that's the message we're trying to get out with it there. Like anybody's feedback is invaluable, but those guys are the ones that are always on the mark, and they're always doing it for us. So,
and after recording that 40 so minutes with those guys, it really excited me actually. Like, we have a community. We actually, it's a small one, but we've built one over 100 episodes just by doing this. Yeah, which is awesome.
It's incredible.
So, just like to thank DJ, Delfino Durans, Sam Hay, Jamie Penning, Lavanede, Metadox, Combro, and Brendan Tam. Thank you very much for being active in the Discord, on the weekly. It's really awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And to be honest, most importantly, whether you're part of the Discord, whether you're one of our friends who we've met through doing this, thank you so much for listening to the show, whether it's every week, whether you caught the first episode a few weeks ago and now you're just catching up on this. Thank you so much for clicking on us and giving us a chance. Especially if you got to the end of this episode, this isn't a typical episode where we're talking about, the latest Pokemon game or whatever, and you're just interested in that. You've gotten to the end of this because, you care about the show, or your podcast player just auto ran it and you couldn't press pause. So, yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you to everyone. It's been a journey to 100, but as I've said before, many more years to go out of this yet.
How many more years? How many more years do you reckon?
I'm not going to predict. I'm not going to predict because then it'll be an omen.
You're just like, at least 1.5. Anyway, with that said, Bryce, thank you for listening to the House of Mario episode 100. If you would like to keep up to date on social media and all of that stuff with us, you can find myself at Drewby. At Drewby. You can find myself at iDrewby. You can find Bryce at
IV Revan.
And you can find me... not me, Jesus. You can find the show at the House of Mario.
It's late.
It is late. Yeah, it is very late. It's almost 12 o'clock. God damn.
Yep. We're almost done.
Yeah. Yes. So, join the Discord if you like to talk with all of the people in there. Subscribe to the podcast feed to get more. I don't need to keep going on about it. It's fine. Mm-hmm. But Bryce, with that, I'm going to hit the button to stop recording. And, yeah. Ah, god damn it! We hit the wrong button.
Are we in space?
Yeah, it seems like it.
I have you now, silly billies.
Oh god, not Tom the Robot again.
I will now defeat you in the most humiliating way possible by beating you in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
Tom, honestly, can't we just go and play Super Smash Bros. Instead?
You are in my court now. We are playing Battle Royale.
But can we wrap up the show first?
Fine, I will hold my DualShock 3 in anticipation.
Ugh, fine.
This week's Nintendo Jukebox is File Select, a Super Mario 64 GrooveCube remix, which you will recognise as our theme song. We've been lucky enough to use this over the past year or so, and it's a big thank you to GrooveCube for allowing us to use the song for every episode. If you want to see more of his stuff, click on the link in the show notes below and enjoy the full theme of the House of Mario. Until next week, enjoy yourself.
reckoning will be upon you. I shall pick Big Daddy and destroy you with my big drill. Big Daddy is the embodiment of my hatred towards you both, and he will beat your characters, unless you are Kratos. If you pick Kratos, you are a big bully that deserves to be thrown in the trash. He is extremely overpowered and the developers never fixed him. Why did they never fix Kratos? They might as well have made a tactical nuke as a playable character, because they are pretty much the same thing. Every time I see a Kratos online, I quit the match and get banned and get sad. I really want a Battle Royale sequel with no Kratos, just so I can laugh at the silly billies who play him. He really is a garbage character that should have never been made. Also, why is there no Crash Bandicoot or Spyro in this game? It's hardly representative of PlayStation at all, especially since they replaced Snake with Raiden. Who the hell likes Raiden? He is a dummy dumb character for babies.